Just by raising.
I think.
Do you want me to get attention, Melissa? Do you want me to get attention?
We got to skip aside.
Hey guys, if we can get started, thank you all for coming. I was going to suggest, I guess I thought we had more room. I wanted this to be like a collaborative circle, so yeah, feel free to turn the chairs and scooch up so that we can all talk amongst ourselves about what we see for the township.
What was wrong with the round table?
The round up here. I feel like if I sit up there, I'm talking at people, and I don't want to talk at people. I want to talk
You know,
at
you can be queen for the day.
I brought my crown.
Oh, I'm not. So we will go ahead and call this special meeting to order. The Lyon Township Downtown Development special meeting, Monday, June 29th, 5:07. If we could all please stand and face the flag for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mike, would you go ahead and recite the mission statement? I see some easy prayers.
Sure. The mission of the Lyon Township DDA is to assist the public in private development efforts to stimulate residential, commercial, and industrial growth and create a vibrant community where people live, work, and play.
Thank you. And Amy, if you want to do a roll call.
Yep. Canfield,
Here.
Gezzy,
Here.
Casey,
Here.
Pajak,
Here.
Pacini,
Here.
sorry, Ruffin.
Here.
Okay. John Dolan, Jason Egan, and Tim Miner have sent notification that they were not able to attend tonight's meeting.
Okay, approval of the agenda. I need a motion for that, please.
Motion to approve the agenda for the special meeting tonight. As is.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so this meeting is being recorded. The audio will be available for anyone who requests it. We do realize that the township website did not have the meeting posted. That was a complete mistake on our end. We apologize. We definitely want people to come, so if anybody can come, I'm sure we're going to be here till 7 or 8 o'clock, so you're welcome to come at any time. Tonight? Midnight?
No.
So if somebody doesn't know about it, they're welcome to join us at any time. It's supposed to be an informal discussion of what we want moving forward in 2027, priority projects and interest. This time there is a call to public, but like I said, the whole meeting is kind of a dialogue between everybody. So if anybody wants to start with the call to public, you can go ahead and start with the call to the public.
Oh, hell, how was you first open my mouth? I'm curious. Should have had a mic so everybody can hear. That's one thing. The other thing is, what is your purpose of the DDA? All downtown? Everything? Because don't know why you guys aren't complaining that this AI center's going in. Because once that noise starts, you don't think these people that come in here to eat are going to come after they hear the noise and feel the vibrations in this place? Your businesses are going to suffer.
So are them.
You know, I don't know why nobody's speaking up. I called the Board of Education and said, well, they don't get involved in political balls, bouncing balls, whatever. But, you know, I'm surprised at least the downtown developers not complaining about this AI center going in. You know, I know you're not going to see it, but you're sure in the hell going to hear it and feel it. Because I don't know if any of you know what infrasound is, but you better look it up. It's less than 20 megahertz sound that your ear cannot pick up, and it vibrates your internal organs. People living in these centers have gotten insomnia, nausea, nosebleeds, and even fainting that affects them because they live so close to these things. And I'm sure you're going to lose a hell of a lot of business once this gets built and around, if it does, because you're not going to have businesses. Are all you people business owners, or are you just volunteers, or what?
Both.
I can't hear you.
She said both.
Both.
Both. Because none of you have been at the meetings to complain about it. I mean, hell, are you happy about it? Nobody, you can't comment either, right? I know that, I'm sure, I've talked to a couple other ones. You guys are, she didn't even know there was going to be an AI center? Because I've talked to a couple owners and they're afraid of reprisals from this township hall.
Which is a bigger problem.
Speaking their mind. You know, so I don't know how you guys can sit back idle being business owners and supposed to represent. And what was the word on that letter? Let me see your letter real quick. I just read it. Your pledge. Create a vibrant community. Well, you can kiss vibrant and you ask goodbye, because once this gets built, once it starts with the
I'm going to stop. Can we
construction.
please keep it cordial? We won't have swearing allowed at the meeting, so I apologize, but please, no swearing.
Okay, what did I say? ASS or what?
Yes. I'm just
Sorry.
trying to set a tone for it. That's
Mule,
all.
okay?
Okay.
But I can't see why you're sitting idle when your business is about to go down the toilet. If this thing gets built, 6 years of construction, you know you can't get through downtown New Hudson at rush hour. Takes 4 or 5 lights to get through because of the traffic. What do you think it's going to be like when the semis get here and the traffic? That's all I got to say. I just know why you guys are sitting idle and not open your mouths, especially if you're an owner, unless you're afraid of reprisals from this place.
Thank you. Anybody else want to start before we get on to the budget?
Hi, so I wanted to bring up something that occurred over the weekend, and I just had some questions about it. So there was an event created by the Lyon Area Chamber of Commerce that was called Rooted in South Lyon, and the objective was to support downtown South Lyon businesses throughout traffic, which of course we all want to do. My concern is that the primary sponsor was listed as Veris, which I find striking, particularly after their letter last month to threatening to sue the township. I understand today, or yesterday sometime, that it was decided by somebody that the event was canceled. I attempted to contact the Lyon Area Chamber of Commerce today to no avail. On the website, it says that the Lyon Area Chamber of Commerce is made up of both the South Lyon DDA and the Lyon Township DDA. And I hope there will be another event in place to support the downtown businesses, but I really would love to know who authorized taking a check from Veris, because that felt incredibly contradictory. So if anybody could provide any insight, I think that's important, because there were a lot of people, including myself, who were very upset to see that.
Okay, so the Lyon Area DDA is not made up of the
Lyon Chamber.
I'm sorry, the Lyon Chamber is not made up of the DDAs. There are members, maybe, on their board. I don't know if we have any members on our board who are also on their board. I don't know.
Okay, wait right there,
But
because.
we don't, let me finish. So we are, the only affiliation that we as the DDA have is we are a member of the Lyon Area DDA.
Chamber.
We don't, sorry, we don't control what they do. We had no foresight. We were not asked to be a part of that event. So I can tell you when I saw it, I was quite shocked as well. So I think like we don't know. We don't know. The only thing I can say is probably the director. They were seeking funds, and they got a sponsorship, and they were like yippee, and didn't have the foresight to decline it. or think about the consequences. So that's, but yeah, we are not, the only affiliation we have is we are a member. We don't control them, and we didn't approve that.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
yep.
Okay, well, I just want to read you, for more information, this is on the Lyon Area Chamber of Commerce.
That line
That's
area
different.
chamber is gone, that's extinct.
What?
That does not exist, the Lyon Area Chamber of Commerce. That's the old one.
But the
It's
website's
on
still
the
The website's
website.
still
The
up.
Greater Brighton Chamber of Commerce is the one that's hosting the event, the one that we belong to.
Yes, but under their page, they still have a spot for the Lyon Area Chamber. That's a subsidiary
same
of it.
logo?
It's still on there,
So who
and it
is
just
it?
says.
Yeah.
The Lyon Area Chamber is a subsidiary of the Brighton Area Chamber of Commerce because the Lyon area can't afford their own staff. They're not large enough to support it, so they work under the Brighton Area Chamber umbrella. So I would contact the Brighton Area Chamber and ask for who their point of contact is for the Lyon area.
You guys need to
The
get your
point of contact is
information.
Karen's story.
You know, these,
You can contact her.
all these things are out there. Your name's on this.
Absolutely, yes, they talk
And
about
I
for.
would not want my name out there on something that's no longer doing anything or having anything so that you don't get called on the carpet for something that you didn't do.
Well, all the small businesses are also listed on there. So by what you're saying, that would implicate all the small businesses in that. So again, the Lyon Area Chamber created an event and went to all the businesses, collected everybody. I don't know if we're a part of that. I don't know if we got asked to be a part of it or not.
No.
So maybe we did not. So regardless, we have nothing to do with it. So I would contact them and express your concern about that.
Okay, well,
So you're saying this doesn't exist, the Lyon Area Chamber?
It is confusing. I will admit that. This is not my doing.
No,
So I
I
want to explain it. There used to be a Lyon Area Chamber of Commerce that was its own organization. It had its own board of directors, its own bylaws.
Okay.
After COVID, membership declined, and they were not able to sustain that organization financially anymore. So what they did was they reached out to the Brighton Area Chamber, which has a large base, and the Brighton Area Chamber Directors Board now oversees, I believe it's Putnam or
It's like five different
like
small communities.
5 different small
Putnam,
communities.
Whitmore,
And so
Lake.
what they do is they have their staff and they appoint people. So I believe Karen Story is the point person for the Lyon Area Chamber.
Karen's the director of the Brighton Chamber.
Oh, the Brighton Chamber, okay.
Yes.
So she oversees that whole thing. They have a point person that they assign to this area. They have a point person that they assign to Brighton area, a point person that applies to each different community. So I don't know who that point person is. My name's on there because they advertise business in general for all sorts of different things. So they say if you have a business in the Lyon area, contact Amy Allen as the DDA director and I can answer some questions for you. But I don't deal with programming for their organization. We just have a membership.
So is it still valid and up and running? It's an ongoing concern?
Yes, but they're under the Brighton Area
Right.
Chamber liability, staffing, everything else, but they still have their own name so people can specify this area.
well, I mean, this is what it was posted. It was posted from Lyon Area Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah, because they have their one point person that deals with projects in this area, and they refer to it as the Lyon Area Chamber. But for management and staffing, it's under the Brighton Area Chamber umbrella.
Are you confusing that with the Lyon Area DDA like I was earlier?
No, it's
No,
listed
that's
as
me.
Lyon Area Chamber.
Well,
No, I'm asking if she's, doesn't know the line between
there,
the chamber
then
and
someone
DDA.
here that knows these people need to get that straightened up and get that off of there.
That is not our responsibility. I mean, I get it. Like,
No.
so-
You're going to allow them to advertise things that are adversely going to affect our area?
I mean,
They're not
You mean
affiliated.
they're not
They're
affiliated.
They're not
with
affiliated
us.
with
We can't
us.
control what they say or do.
Nobody approves it, they can put up what the hell they want. They
Well,
want.
it's like us as the DDA. If we pulled in the chamber to do something, and
So then you approve this to go online then?
I don't know, did we approve?
No.
No, we
The
didn't.
event is in South Lyon, it's not.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got our name all over it, and we can't do it. I guess that's kind of like what we're doing here.
That flyer doesn't have the Lyon
Amy,
Township
where are you
DDA on
located?
there.
Amy, where are you looking so I can,
I copied it off a post that was on Facebook, and it says right at the top of the page that I copied so I could show you, Lyon Area Chamber of Commerce. And then there's rooted in South Lyon, downtown South Lyon, support small business, hashtag community first. There's 3 or 4. And yes, it did come up with a bubble at the very top under Brighton, but it's all clearly posted through that area.
Right, we are
chamber.
not the Lyon Area Chamber of Commerce.
And if you go to that, this is what you see, and
But
you
Amy,
see
we
this.
are not the Lyon Area Chamber of Commerce. I
So-
think you're confusing the DDA with the Chamber of Commerce. We are,
On,
it's 2 different
on the
entities.
website page for the Lyon Area Chamber, if you scroll down, it says for more information, contact
Oh, I
Amy
see.
Allen and Kim Rivera.
Okay, so
So-
that's it.
So that's the
In an
confusion.
effort just to, so we can
Yeah.
keep things moving, appreciate the concern and share the concern. If our name is being used out there associated with things we're not aware of, we will absolutely look into that. Understand that the Lyon Area Chamber of Commerce is not something that we are part of. We're part of it, but we don't control it in any way. We are a member. I hear your concern. I share your
You
concern.
got no input either?
But
Well,
as a
what I'm
member,
saying-
we're asking you to do something about it because
That-
that post seriously hurt
Understood.
a function that could help.
Understood.
citizens.
This is not an argument
Because-
with that.
And they're not deaf either. They should have known that accepting that in our area was probably not a good idea.
Understood.
taken the post
So
down.
they did.
Yeah,
yeah.
they did.
But
Exactly.
we will
Yeah,
definitely
it's
look
done.
into the next steps on how we can address that. I hear your concern, share your concern, and it's something that we will absolutely look into. But we don't have control over the post. We didn't approve the post as just kind of a close it out. It was not something that came before us. We said, yep, we want that. We want to approve it. It was not anything that ever happened. But understand your concern, and Sharon will absolutely look into it. Amy, thank you for bringing it up.
So what would be done then to prevent this happening in the future? Obviously, we can't change things in the past. How can we prevent this from happening again? So that things get just randomly posted? Do we need to have a request to the Brighton Chamber of Commerce indicating that anything to do with South Lyon needs to be approved by the...
We are not South Lyon, though. We have nothing to do with what's
Okay,
approved in
well,
South
whoever.
Lyon.
Does somebody somewhere here, I mean, everything's shifting and passing the buck. Does anybody here have the ability for oversight of what's posted on that site?
Only if it's posted in relation to events that we are specifically sponsoring or running.
Okay.
But events that they do with other businesses, not involving our DDA, we have no control over them posting where they share that site. But if we're sponsoring one of their events, like we work with them on offering training sometimes,
Right.
then we can see the flyer, we can determine who's on there, we can determine what it says, and make sure that we're in agreement. But if we're not sponsoring that event, we have no control over that.
Okay, but I guess what we're saying is maybe because you do deal with them on things, that you could call them up and say, hey, that was a big mistake, and you guys need to get it corrected.
And as Mike said, we hear your feedback and we will take that into consideration, and we will definitely discuss this moving forward.
Another meeting, so you're gonna do shit.
The swearing, please,
Yeah,
I addressed.
We can't have that.
Well, we prefer probably a commitment to do something as opposed to looking into it. I mean,
I
looking
suggest,
into...
hold on. We're in a 2-minute public comment. You're looking for verification. It's not going to happen. Please submit your comments, your 2 minutes, so we can move on with the agenda. That's all I'm asking. This is not a productive conversation.
Yeah.
Well,
at all.
apparently not.
Nobody gives a shit.
The swearing, again, please.
I just hit them.
I know, but
Yeah.
Well, I've said my piece. I might as well leave because I didn't bring my waiters. You guys don't like the board, don't give a darn about the damn residents.
Any other public comment before we move on to budget and projects discussions? Yes.
I had one question. Why this DDA meeting is not being recorded?
It's being recorded audio. It's not being broadcast because it was a brainstorming, informal thinking session. I made that call, and if we have one in the future, we will broadcast it.
But-
I feel like having an informal conversation and everybody freely speaking should not be something that I have to completely edit and censor. And if you put that on the internet forever to live, then I need to be very edited and censored.
So CYA.
But with this being a 5 o'clock start time, where a lot of people who would like to attend can't make the meeting, I would think that would be even more reason to record this so people that are interested and want to know what's going on can watch it.
So the next one will record.
I'm sorry?
The next one will be recorded.
I thought it was agreed all meetings would be recorded, though.
I
I mean, at one point, there was a meeting, I was here, and it said all meetings going forward would be
Right,
recorded.
correct.
So
Whether
we
it's
we are
informal or formal.
doing a voice recording, and somebody who
It's not
I
the
asked-
same.
I
It's not the same.
understand, and I asked similar
And
questions.
that's not what you guys committed to at that meeting.
Would you mind letting me please answer? So, as someone who raised a similar thought, Carissa's heart and spirit was exactly in the right place. The whole purpose of this meeting was to gain a level of transparency and communication and dialogue with the community. That's the whole purpose of this. That was the intent of it. So understood and here, and we've talked about it, and absolutely all the meetings going forward will be video recorded. The spirit of it and the reason that it is not video recorded was to just try to have an open communicative dialogue. That's why we're sitting down here. That's why we're not sitting up at the podiums. That's why we're trying to
We
garner
could
the
still
conversation.
record it, and the community that isn't able to attend could then be included and feel inclusive in this. By not recording it, there's no inclusivity
It's
for
not
them.
being
Some people could
transparent.
at least listen to it while they're driving home.
Understood, and we're doing the best we can with what we have right now, and we're
It was a
recording
choice.
it, and it's gonna be posted after the meeting.
It was a
Correct,
choice.
Amy? It's gonna be available after.
Yes, I will have a link up there for anybody who wants to make it available, whoever wants it available. Email me directly, I will try to figure out how to send the
And
link.
it's open to the public, and we are having it recorded. I know it's not the same.
5 o'clock start,
I
how
understand
inconvenient.
it's not the same.
Other thing is, and I already talked to Amy about this, but this meeting was not posted on the township's website. You're always directed to go to the township's website for information on meetings. This meeting was not on the township's website. Call it what you want, oversight, whatever. That's wrong. That's a huge red flag. My final thing is in regards to the flyer from Walbridge, asking people to contact the township saying that we want this data center. I want to thank Walbridge for sending this out, because by doing that, we make more people aware of this data center. There's a lot of people out there that still don't know about this. So by sending this out, you're helping us. So thank you for that.
Okay. I just want to, we're going to be talking about the budget for 2027. And I hope you all are taking into consideration that there has not been a decision on this data center. And if we do get the data center, which we do not want, I hope you understand that, that is going to make a serious change in what you guys have to work with on that downtown area. We already have a lot of buildings and land that has been sitting vacant for years. And we have now eyesores that are vacant. And it all surrounds the area that is within a half a mile of a data center. Whether it comes out with rainbows and flowers or it comes out as dirt on our shoes, it is always going to be New Hudson. That's where the data center is. And it is not going to be pretty down there for 6 to 8 years. So what are we doing in 2027? Are we going to try to make it look great? Or maybe save our money? Or maybe fundraise to stop this? We can't even get rid of the the business on the corner with the White House, I'm sorry, this is like right there for me. It is the gateway to our city, and we have an industrial site. Take this time to get it into commercial property. Do a athletic club there. Do a gathering center with booths for food trucks to come in, but make it appealing. We're looking at Continental Can. Is that even able to be rehabbed and used because it's contaminated? We're ending up with all this contamination in our downtown area. And who's going to want to be down there with trucks flying down the road because they're working long hours down there in Saline? It's not going to stop at 5 o'clock. And it's probably not going to stop on the weekends. Guys, think about this. 2-lane road. You're going to hurt our businesses. You're not going to help them with this. And in hurting that, it's an additional hurt on all the houses. I mean, give us an ice cream shop. Give us some reason to go down there. We have 3 restaurants. So happy that the Mexican restaurant put a little patio out in front so their people can sit there and listen to the hum. They're less than a half a mile from it. What are we doing? We're destroying us instead of making us better. All the money in the world, you could pay for all my taxes, and I still don't want this. It's not going to be good. And if you can't go online and listen to what it sounds like at Dwajniak or someplace out in this state or that state, the information is there, and it's unproven information that they want to give us. And we're supposed to trust it with our futures. So all the money you're going to get to do this down there is not going to help anybody. We're still going to have little New Hudson. And you know what? I think we're all kind of happy with that. I don't think we need to be Farmington Hills or, Royal Oak or whatever. Everybody's fine with it. We don't have the Victorian houses. We have our cute little houses. That's it. That's it. It's not going to be $1 million area. We are what we are, and we're all happy with that. And I do appreciate everything you guys have done to get us this far. And I don't want to see it destroyed. That's my concern.
We don't either.
Really?
I don't even want to support the businesses in New Hudson anymore because none of them are supporting the citizens as a consumer.
Well, I think,
That's how I feel about it.
and I think that's a concern as a business owner.
Not a big enough one.
Is that, well,
I mean, you're not
okay,
really good. too.
I'm one person,
Yeah.
and I'm on a board with many other people. And a decision was made by a different board that I have no control over. And so now the position I'm in is to advocate for you guys. And you may or may not see it, but yeah, I have a stake. I've been here 25 years. I have a stake in this business. And I'm, as Amy stated, I'm a half mile, if that. And if you guys go down, I'm going down. So I'm doing what I can do behind the scenes.
I'm just talking about the other business
I get it. No, I get
And
it.
if
But
they're worried about retaliation, we obviously have a bigger problem in our community with local government if they're afraid to speak out because of retaliation. What in the heck is that saying to us?
that's
What are
money
they
does.
doing as a government? If the local
Money
businesses
allows
are
people
so
to
afraid
thrive.
to speak up, because of retaliation, but they're not fearful of my retaliation of not spending money down there because they won't support me as a 20-some-year citizen of this area and supporting businesses.
We're in I guess the pickle that we're in is that we don't have an opportunity to make the change. You guys show up here, we can hear you, we do hear you. But we have no...
There is
We
one
have-
person on your board that had a big influence on this coming forward.
we're
Let's
aware
talk
of
about
that.
the elephant in the room.
We're aware of that. We're aware of that.
And I think if the businesses felt comfortable speaking out, that it could make a difference. Because everybody that doesn't speak out for fear does give the impression that you don't care. Or you know, that you're for it.
Well, that's...
And maybe we should have, maybe the DDA should put on a big thing about the data center and invite everybody down, and maybe we can have a hoedown about getting rid of it. I don't know. I am just so frustrated with this process.
I am too.
You have all these people saying no, and yet we are still sitting here farting around with it.
So
Instead of just saying no.
I was told that it was a private sale and the DDA had nothing to do with it. That's what I was told after the deal went through.
A private sale.
Well, that probably
We were told, I was told
What are you
specifically.
talking about? What?
I'm just
Private sale?
telling you, it's a private sale. It was a sale by Walbridge to Veris.
But
It
that's
was a private sale.
Oh, you're talking about
So we
the-
had nothing to do with it. Then it happens, and now all of a sudden, all heck breaks loose, and now it's like, whoa, 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 what just happened?
But Paula,
So
the minute that
now we have to backtrack and try to figure out.
property was sold for this purpose, or any purpose, Adorno should have stepped down and completely been out of this room. And when it was all done, he wanted to be invited back. That would have been okay. But the minute that somebody that has this much power in this town to pay for things and then comes in the door with an opportunity that's the golden goose, and I truly believe that you guys are uncomfortable sometimes having conversations about this because he is here on that board. And you should have been able to speak and not apologize for what you said and have him say, the lawyer
Yeah.
heard about it, knew about it. You have a voice, and you all should be able to use that voice for or against it and let us know what that voice is so we can make our decisions.
What voice do you want to hear? I mean, I'm not saying that sarcastic. I'm genuinely.
I
like,
wanted all of you to be able to say,
you opposed it.
we oppose this, and get it out there.
I oppose it, and I was not part of the board who voted for it, and
See, we
and that
don't know
upsets
that.
me because it was brought to us, but we didn't really know, and it was in a meeting. It just kind of, Brian presented it. It was read to the board, but we were like, oh, okay. We didn't really think about what that was or what it meant.
Somebody knew what it was back in early of 25. FOIA.
Yes.
Well,
It's all about
Boy.
money.
Yes.
It's all been going on for a lot longer
Yes.
than you presented to the public.
then maybe everybody needs to start asking more questions.
And if someone on the board is part of this,
Well, there was
and he
con-
didn't
yes.
share with the DDA, that's very bad judgment as a team.
Well, I'm curious. I'll ask you, I'll just direct this instead of talking to you like you're not here. So you were having conversations with people in June of last year about the data center, but did not reveal to any of us what was happening. So was there a reason that you didn't share it with us?
There was nothing in writing from Veris at that moment.
But you were talking to them.
But you were talking about it.
I talked to a lot of people.
Oh, okay, we're gonna go that way.
This was a secret backdoor deal.
But the application cover sheet says data center all over it.
That project.
No, it did
No,
not.
Oh,
No, it
I
didn't.
looked at it
You
today.
had to go halfway down the first paragraph before it mentioned a data center.
Minutes, you didn't disclose to your cohorts on the DDA.
You called it
that
Project
this was what
Flex.
it was. You did not
right.
have transparency with your own
Pete,
people on the board.
can I bring something up? I thought this was a call to
Yeah.
the public, not engaging the
Yes,
public.
we can't
Take
start
offense to all
engaging
this.
it.
I'm
Now
gonna-
we're cherry
I'm
picking.
going
I
to
would
suggest
like
that
to
we,
move on
I'm going to
to the
suggest that
budget.
we cancel this meeting since it's not public, it's not televised, it's not been
There you go.
notified.
Please do.
And we reschedule it for another
Please
time.
do.
Lawyer's not here.
Please
No,
do.
I would like to know what our plan.
So there's,
That'd be great.
there's
That's
a
the best
motion
thing
on
to
the
do.
table to
Cancel the
cancel the
meeting.
meeting and reschedule until we
Yeah.
can have proper notice and discussion.
You can
Is there a
record it
second?
and you can notify the public on the township's website.
And by
Best
the way,
thing to do.
Robin, I agree with you, this wasn't posted. I agree, with you know, look.
Good.
You make valid points, 5 o'clock, not posted, I
Yep.
get it. I asked the same questions, and I don't think anybody did it with malintent, by the
I
way.
appreciate your support on this, on that issue. I appreciate it.
Because I almost made a mistake, and wasn't gonna be here till 6, so.
Is anybody gonna talk about that?
Well,
They're just gonna talk about flex the whole time.
I kind of wanted to know what we're doing next year.
Can we please let them speak, for goodness sakes? Everybody, please
they're not.
let them make a decision so we can move on. Thank
Yeah,
you.
they weren't though, they were talking amongst themselves.
Yeah, so,
Well, we're trying to
well,
decide.
and
That
so I
is
think,
our,
I think
all
we,
right,
okay.
to talk amongst
so I
ourselves.
think, I think that the idea of the meeting tonight was to talk in good faith about the budget. We open, have public comment in relation to the budget. Believe me, I'm not shutting anybody down. We know the comments. There's nothing, this is not in our purview to step up and say or do anything about it. I'm suggesting if we're in agreement and the public is in line with it, meaning that in agreement with, I would like to proceed with us discussing the budget for 2027. Just from the perspective of, we can't just go back in the circle. We agree, we hear it. I'm not shutting anybody down by any stretch of the imagination. But if we are going to be here, then we're not going to be able to execute what the agenda is, which means we won't have a choice. And that's not what I want. I want to be transparent, have a conversation, and have a dialogue with the community about our 2027 budget.
So
We need to close the current motion.
Yeah, we need to close the
I would like
current
to make a separate motion after that one's closed. I don't see anyone seconding, so can we, if no one seconds a motion,
Sorry.
Then it dies.
it dies? Okay.
There
Can I make a
is
motion that we can close the call to public?
1 second. There is a motion on the table to cancel the meeting. Does that motion have any support?
No.
Okay. And you need a motion? Or,
I don't know. Or you can do it.
Yeah, you just said.
okay. The call to public is ended.
Oh, I got one,
And we're moving on to the budget workshop discussion, where it is open dialogue about the 2027 budget. Would we like to start with projects?
I think where I would like to start, as far as the budget goes, is, and I know Lisa's going to address this too, is having standard procedures and protocols on how we create the budget so that we all have a better understanding of what that means. I know sometimes when you ask me for things, my budget, like, I don't really know what that means. I don't know what my parameters are,
Yeah.
what I'm allowed to do, what I'm not allowed to do. And so I think creating that kind of a strategy, I don't know what we can do in this session, but I think it's important that we at least get on the table that we all need clarification on how the budget's created, why we create it, how we project, what we want to project, what we're going to do as committee members, and what that looks like for our individual budgets and projects.
Absolutely.
Just in following that, I know I sent a message out to you guys yesterday, but just, I think moving forward, I'll be working to define some DDA financial policies and procedures to include but not limited to invoice payment, consultation project approval, consent agenda, budget creation, approval, adoption, constraints, limitations, changes, amendments, sponsorship, and fundraising. So if anyone wants to add to that, feel free, but we'll be busy with that for probably the good next 6 to 12 or 18 months in that regard. Given we have Raina here, and I appreciate your email to me clarifying, trying to clarify our budget. We have since January, I've been trying to understand our budget. And so I do have a copy of your email, Deb, and your attachment. I guess, Raina, it would be helpful for us if you could just, we're being told we have a fund budget. So if you could explain to us what a fund budget means.
Sure. You have, so the DDA is, the township overall adopts the budget based on activity level. You as the DDA are an activity, so that's why your fund, the DDA fund, is an activity, and so all your expenditures, for example, you could create a line item budget, but you are adopting it in total. So it can go into detail, but basically it's the total of the expenditures and revenues that you're adopting. And go ahead.
So in terms of interpretation, just to use 2026 as an example, we have a $5.6 million budget. So what is our limitations in using those funds besides DDA activities? Like we have a line item budget that we use, and my understanding is that for internal purposes, but we as a DDA can use the $5.6 million as approved by the Board of Trustees on approvable DDA projects, correct?
Correct. So, but if you go over that, for example, but
Sure.
Within that 12-month period, if you go over the 5.6 that was approved, then you have to do a budget amendment. Your budget expires every year. So on December 31st every year, it expires. It doesn't continue. You can't just continue any of it over into the following year. It expires. So you can do a budget amendment any day of the year, right up until December, on or before 12/31 of the year end, and make an amendment.
Well, and then it goes to the Board of Trustees, and we've done that, but it's sitting, the board hasn't addressed the amendment. So we have an outstanding amendment that's gone to the board right now.
So for clarification, just what they're referring to is we can only make a recommendation for the budget amendment. The actual amendment has to go to the Board of Trustees for approval.
Yes.
Correct. Okay.
So given what I'm being told, again, in the past, our budgets have been around $2 million a year, and this one, over double. As a DDA member, but also as a resident, I am shocked and concerned about sitting on a $5.6 million budget that we can use in any way that we want. And so, again, as we discuss things, my recommendation is that we pull things back significantly. I know, Amy, you had created a document for us kind of indicating our essentials. And that ran, what was that? 1.5, I think, was about what it was, I believe. Yeah, your draft budget comes to about 1.5 without the yellow parts being
without
put
those
in.
added in.
So again, I think in terms of just our goal for a budget, I'd recommend us looking for something under $2 million.
And just to clarify, and this might be for you, Deb, I'm not sure. So even though we have the fund budget, even though we line item it out, that's somewhat just for our tracking purposes, correct? If there were a line item that we put in there, are we able to add any type of parameters around that, saying that it is intended for this specific use and nothing else? Even though we're using it, even though we are a fund budget, can we identify, let's say, a line item that I want $1 million for U.S. flags up and down Grand River, and I want to put some parameters around saying those funds would only be able to use for that unless it went back to the DDA board for approval, which would then go up to the township board for approval, like following the direct chain of command. But even in a fund budget, can we make that type of parameter.
self-restrict your
Correct.
budget?
Correct.
Internally?
Specific.
Yeah, why not?
And so to me,
You
that
can.
seems like that would have to be our financial policies and procedures, which we don't have any at this point, or very minimal.
Yeah.
A vote of the
Um,
board
and
on
so-
that item.
Okay, and so we can create a specific limitation in the moment, as well as policy that would further self-govern.
Right, the only time you're going back to the board of trustees is if you're spent more than you have,
Exactly.
The fund budget.
right? I mean,
Correct, the 5.6.
But if we put together our own financial policies and procedures
and that you're
for the
spending it
budget.
within the DDA boundaries, and that you're spending it in accordance with your adopted plan that you've committed to with the county, you know,
Correct.
all that, so.
Yeah, so as long as we're following the same parameters that our current budget got approved
Yes,
under,
you do have
we can add
flexibility.
additional
Yes.
parameters to the line items to
And
essentially
it's-
operate as a line item budget
Right.
based on our policy and procedures.
If that's what you want to do.
Okay.
You'd be self-restricting.
Self-restricting, yeah. Thank
So
you.
we could make those at the DDA board level that wouldn't need any approval at the township level
Right,
for that.
And money you don't, I mean, you don't have to ask them not to spend your money
Yeah.
either, right?
Yeah.
Yes, which is what
And
we're
that's
doing.
what's
We're
been
discussing.
happening. You don't
Yeah.
spend all your money, and that's fine too.
Yep.
But I assume that's being invested, Rena, am I correct? I mean,
Yes.
what they don't spend gets invested, so it's growing too.
And I think we had a question, if we're
I
open for
have a
dialogue,
question
go
with
ahead.
regards
Yeah.
to that. Okay, because it still is a little in my brain. That, and I'm just going to give a scenario. So let's say with promotions, we have our promotions budget for the year, but it's just a line item sitting there, and then we have this fund. And then we say, we want to do this extra event. We're going to move $10,000 into the promotions line item. We're not really moving money. We're just moving we're just moving lines. So we don't have to go, if we need an extra $10,000 to run an event, we don't have to go to the board,
No, you
to the
do not.
township board. We can just go,
As
Well,
long as it's under
with-
5.6.
Under current
and-
parameters.
right now, I mean, your committees can't make decisions like that. They can make recommendations to
Right.
you as the board,
right.
just so you.
But I would bring that to the board,
Exactly.
and I would
That's
say,
all you have
hey,
to
we
do.
want to do a thing,
We'd like to
we're
add
gonna
these.
close down Grand
activities.
River and have a party.
But this is
We need
where
$20,000.
I don't see anywhere where it's written how that goes. Like, at what level does she have to come back to the
But
board?
your bylaws say that the committees can only make recommendations to the board.
To this board.
Right,
Yeah.
this board.
So this board does not approve committee budgets, so that's a problem.
No, but I mean activities and movement and spending money. You are approving every month your expenditures, right? And now you're going to do it prospectively before the money gets spent, is my understanding, as opposed to after the fact. So if that committee decides, we want to add some activities, they would be asking the board, is it okay?
So, yeah, okay. So, just going back then, if we have, if we do an activity and we say, we want to do this thing, I propose it to the board, here's what we want to do, I want to approve an additional $10,000 for promotions. The board says, yes, we go do our thing. But in the same respect, what we're trying to do with the drain is we're like, we haven't done this drain, we don't foresee it, trying to get it off of the, so if it's just a number, why does that have to then go to the township board to get eliminated from our line item?
Yeah, if we want to reduce our budget, do we need to go to the
I was
board
the
to
one
approve us to
saying,
reduce
if you
our
don't want to
budget?
spend your money, you don't have to go to the board
But
not to spend
but
your
that's
money.
not what I'm asking. We're asking to reduce the budget because I am not comfortable with having a big $5.6 million budget out there the way that we currently have financial policies.
But you don't,
No,
the
we're
reason
talking about
it
the
didn't have to
$3
go
million.
is because
talking-
it's not a line item budget. That was the whole point. That
Right.
line item for the
Exactly.
drain,
But I'd like
Yeah,
to have a budget
the drain.
around $2 million.
Hold on, let me finish.
Like, can we,
No, I want
can
to
we
finish
finish
this
her
about
note?
the drain. This is where I'm trying to, if we can add things that easily, then why can't we take them away that easily? I guess that's my bottom line.
So the
But,
3 million
but
is
the
not
whole
the
thing
drain.
with the 3 million, it's not the drain?
Not No, if it's a fund budget.
Because we had to go to the township board, but it's not gone to the township
Paula,
board.
if I can jump in and you can tell me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
If you're looking to add to the overall budget, like we approved a bottom line expense and a bottom line revenue. So if we're gonna spend less in this account and more over here, that's transferring it, but it's not affecting the bottom line. Removing that $3 million for the drain affects the bottom line. So
I see.
that's where you need the township approval,
I
because
see.
you're affecting the bottom line.
We were
So to
approved for
shrink
the
your
fund.
overall, is that what
Okay.
you're saying?
We were-
Yes, because
we
it
were
would now
approved
say our
for-
expenses are only gonna be
The township-
2 million for the
township
year.
approved
I
5.6.
see. Okay,
Can
that makes
we-
sense.
So if we deviate
Can we
off-
again self-regulate ourselves and say, thank you for the 5.6 million of Board of Trustees, but we would like instead to have a $2.6 million budget, and so we are going to self-regulate and do that, and not have
Well,
this $3
Then
million that can be spent.
well, then is that going to be put into a capital reserve? Because it's
Correct.
DDA, it was
Yeah.
collected for a specific purpose
Yes.
for the DDA. So it's not like you can just give it back to the township. You wouldn't want to do that. You
No, it goes
can't-
into
you can't do
the
that.
fund budget.
Right.
So do we need Board of Trustees approval to reduce our budget and self-regulate and go from 5.6 to 2.6?
But why are we reducing it?
You were just putting that number in the.
Yeah, you're just putting it in reserve then, and
Yes,
it's gonna be
because
It still
invested.
belongs
Yeah.
to the DDA.
It does
So
belong-
it's still
yes.
in our budget, but in our investment.
No, it's in our fund balance. It is not in our 2026 budget is the difference.
But
I think you're saying you don't want the responsibility
it's
of having that
unavailable.
extra $3 million. You don't want us to be able to transfer it around to other accounts. You
Right.
want it taken out of that, designated in the fund balance, so we don't have access to it unless we go back and ask again.
Correct. Which
And
is-
does it make
Or
more
we
sense
we
for it to be in it?
self-regulate, so we
Are you
could reduce
Yeah.
we could change our self-regulation.
And say this money's in reserve,
Yeah, I mean, I think, so it
But
sounds,
let it
a
earn money.
capital reserve or
if
whatever.
I'm understanding it correctly, we got 5.6 approved for this calendar year, and that's what we have to spend. If we make an adjustment to that, whether it's up or down, we have to send it to the township for approval.
Only if it's up or our bottom line expenses are low, like,
Right, so if we're removing
Yeah.
3 from that.
yes,
our
that would
effective
have to go
budget-
to the full board.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If we're changing that bottom line number,
Yep.
one way or the other, it would have to go. However, if I'm understanding it correctly, Deb, what we are within our bounds to do is say, we're going to take that $3 million line item that we had allocated on our breakdown for capital improvements, and we could vote as a DDA board to put those funds in reserve not to be spent without full approval.
Which is what we did,
Right. And
basically.
you don't.
Well,
need
that
to
was
worry
we-
about it.
We did not. We made a
We did
motion
not.
to remove it from our budget entirely.
Yeah, that was
Which would have
different.
triggered it going back to the DDA board, or I'm sorry, the township.
Oh, yeah, we don't want to do that.
So if we just, it's not sending the money, I'm saying the vote would go to the board because it changed our overall number.
We could create a, just as in this example, you could create a contingency line under the expenditures, probably like the last line of the expenditures, and just call it contingency. You could park that, let's say $3 million down there. And that way, if you do want to do projects, you can take out a contingency into a project line item, or,
But we
or
could
you
put-
could put it into just a general capital outlay, capital improvements line, kind of like a contingency line, just kind of a general line, so that.
But we could put
But then they'd
parameters
still be
around
able to
it.
transfer it,
Of
or,
course,
yeah,
right.
you'd have to put the parameters down,
Brandon,
yeah.
is money that is in a budget, to me, it's all in the same, like, the township has a ton of money, and it's all being invested. And so, these numbers are kind of hypothetical. Like, for us to have a $5.6 million budget isn't like someone took $5.6 million of the township money and it's not being invested, and now it's sitting in some little account somewhere. So,
Yeah.
that doesn't impact investment. The only thing that impacts investment is spending money, and then you have less money out there that's being, so the investing amount does not change where the thing is located. It all is sitting out there being invested with a certain amount that's cash available for the township to run.
I think, and if.
But I
you have
don't like your
questions on here?
contingency
Sorry.
option because I don't like the ability for the funds to be, like,
But we could put parameters on that,
Okay.
limiting, like per what Deb was saying, it sounds like you could put parameters on it that if there's 6 solar eclipses this month, then it can be spent. I'm just, obviously
Call it like
being,
future capital improvements.
Right.
As, it would be an expenditure line still. But, you know, call it something like that so that you know, again, like if you wanted to spend it within this year's budget or the next year, you know, the board would, your board would move it out of there if you wanted to do any projects. That gives you the ability to do that.
I think we do.
But kind of parks it under.
Well,
you know,
that's ineffective. It doesn't really do what I want to do, but that's okay. So we,
I think we have a question.
yeah.
And is it budget related?
Yeah.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Just for context, I recognize almost everyone here except, I'm sorry, on the end.
Oh, I'm Raina Evans.
Raina.
She's our auditor.
Oh, auditor. Okay, great. Thank you.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I get what you're saying, and now that we're putting policies and procedures in place to improve our budgets going forward, I think we could move.
Yeah, we'll work on it with some of that
Right.
stuff.
But thank you, that helps clarify, like, we've been trying to figure that out as we move
That
down.
is absolutely huge.
For a long
In terms
time.
of what roles do we play, what roles does the Board of Trustees play? And
If you, for
what-
example, if we're talking about the 2027 budget, which hasn't
Yeah.
materialized yet, right? You could say, you know, this board can propose a budget that's only $2 million, for example.
Yeah.
I mean, your revenues are going to be more than that, but, you know, that means that if your expenditures, let's say, if you had revenues of $4 million and you had 2.5 of expenditures, for example, 1.5 would fall into your fund balance in that budget, basically.
Right.
That's what you're projecting.
correct.
But you could do that. And that limits your expenditures. But then if you had a big project coming in that year, you do have to go back to the township board to say, hey, we have this $3 million project now that just came up. Can we do that?
That's in effect giving yourself a line item that would drive you back.
Right, it would
Yeah.
just add a slight delay, because we'd have to approve it, and then it'd have to wait till the next month for the board to approve.
Right. But you could limit the 2027 budget to $2 million if that's what you wanted to do.
So
If you
we-
felt more comfortable with that.
So we could have a small contingency that is there that we can move around if needed, and keep everything else down to operating similar to what you were just talking about.
So Deb, just for clarification on some of that, so the DDA does not adopt or accept their budget until after the township board approves it. So,
They propose it, they can have a final, what they want.
yeah,
That's what goes to the board.
yes,
But they can't adopt it until after the board formally adopts.
correct. But when we're talking about these limitations and everything else, correct me if I'm wrong, we're still proposing to the board the Excel document that has the fund budget on it. But this would be something for limitations that would be a policy for the board to limit that spending, or when the DDA gets ready to spend it, when they adopt the budget, are they adopting those limitations each year? Or is it just a policy that you would recommend moving forward?
Well, that's going to be up to the board, however they
Okay,
want to do it.
so the board needs to determine
You
that.
know, if they want to continue with all these line items and stuff like that, they don't really have to do that. I understand that's how they've been doing it in the past. but
Okay,
they
are you
really
guys,
don't
did you
have
catch
to.
that?
Yes,
Just clarify.
we do not need to be doing line
all
item
it
budget, and we don't.
Well, that's not the part I was talking about. I wanted to clarify with her that how it works right now, we make a recommendation for the budget to the township board. At their December meeting, they accept or adopt the budget. Then the DDA doesn't accept that until January. So I had
That's in the
asked,
statute. That can't happen until
Correct.
after the board adopts.
so I asked for clarification on if we want to create some of these limiting procedures. Is that recommended to be a policy that affects it from here on into the unknowable? Or is it something that every year when we get ready to accept, we also, when we accept that budget, accept each limitations different each year? So the limitations are different each year, or is it a policy change that keeps going in perpetuity?
I think
I
that.
don't
That she
think-
said the board gets to decide on that,
Yeah,
how
and I
they
don't
would want to
think we
do
need
it.
to discuss that today. We want to discuss
No,
projects. I think we've gotten
absolutely.
the answers that we needed answered, and we are going to be giving a lot of attorney and auditor discussions as we develop our financial policies. So
Like,
I will be in communication with
we
you
put
guys
it
as we
into
try to
place.
figure some of that stuff out.
I agree.
revisit it. Is it working? I think that would make sense. Anything new like that, I think would make more sense if we took it and actually evaluated it each year to make sure.
And just out of curiosity, on the procedural process here, if we come up with a budget for 27, and we vote on it as a board, we pass it as a board.
Right.
It would then go to the township for approval. What is the township board's options there? Is it just accept or reject? If they reject it, does it come back to us?
No.
Or can they make the modifications themselves to?
Well, there's one step that you didn't mention. It's the budget workshop that the township has. That's when the departments, and you're looked at as a department at that point in time, go in and there's a back and forth with the board there, about your budget. If they have questions, they don't like something, or they think you should put more money, be doing whatever. That's the dialogue time. And that meeting happens, in September, typically, or right now,
September or October,
That's
well, more like October usually.
Or October, maybe sometimes it's even November.
Yeah, that's
It
a real,
doesn't say
that's
that
a
all
really
of us actually
important
attended
meeting
that, not just
to do just exactly what you're talking
The
about.
last time I talked to her,
And
she
at
said
that
the
point in
chair
time,
and myself, but.
When the board's
okay.
satisfied with what you
Okay.
plan to do, I think you're in good shape.
Yeah.
You know
And-
that then.
And I apologize for the questions, and it seemed pretty basic as far as process.
No, but you
we've
haven't
never
been-
seen,
you
we've never
haven't
seen
been
the budget
doing that,
before it
right.
went to the township.
This will be new this year to do it that way and have members of your board or all your board show up at that budget workshop with the township board.
Historically, your director has presented that to us. We may ask a couple questions, but we've rarely, if ever, modified it. Not to say that we can't, but
Right.
In the
hasn't
workshop
been.
or in a meeting?
In the
Workshop.
workshop. Typically in the workshop.
Okay.
Usually the workshop is where most of the details and changes are hashed out,
Right.
questions are brought. Sometimes something has to go back for a little more research and follow-up questions. But by the time that we get to the formal budget hearing, which is what happens at the December meeting, typically, the details are basically already worked out.
So we should be at that November meeting.
Yes.
This September.
So, we should
September.
be at the September,
I would
October,
tell you
November
if
meeting.
it's in September.
Oh, is it
Usually it's
October?
running a little behind schedule.
Oh, okay.
So,
Whatever it is,
it's-
yes.
In the fall.
Simple question, it's budget related.
Of course.
I'm just astounded, how is it that it went from 2 million to 5.6? Why? If you guys have never seen that amount in your budget.
Because there was a line item for $3 million for, under capital improvements for drain construction.
So why would that be for the DDA?
Because it's in-
That's a
it's in-
project that's in the TIP plan for the DDA.
It is, so is that, forgive me, but is that so that it paves the way for Veris to still do their thing, their project, because we're gonna get the drains cleaned out now?
I thought they were paying for it.
We're not gonna get into that.
I know, but I just have that question.
That's part of what we're all discussing is that going to be part of our budget, and
But that
is that gonna be a project that we do?
Right, but that's
And
why it
we removed it
I heard, I just had that.
because we are not going to be doing it in 2026.
I think you're right.
So the ring road and the drain have been part of the project's planning for
Since
7 or
2012
8
at
years.
least.
Okay,
More
this
than
is
that.
not Paris, this wasn't anything. It was that long ago that this has been in the budget. And a couple of years ago, and I forgot how it came up in this board, that we should allocate money to clean the drain. As a government body, it's really the counties to do. Keep that in mind. County has no money, even though they've told us they have $40,000 to clean out the drain. Well, the drain is going to be $8 million by the time it's all said and done. So that tells you the disparity. The township was going to put in this $3 million to the DDA. And that's how that came to be. Leslie's budget had a budget, and that's how we adopted that into the budget.
But you said 7 years ago?
It's at least that long ago, if not longer ago. Since 2017-ish, 18, somewhere in that ballpark.
Yeah.
But I'm saying why the money now? That's all I'm saying. I'm not asking to argue.
It's been a couple of years that, I mean, this was, and this board put the money in before Veris ever came to be, long before,
Yeah.
2 years before.
So then that money then can be used to clean the drains irrespective of anything to do with Veris?
Correct.
Now, is that moving forward? Because it sounds like if they were talking about it for 7 years, it's probably overdue.
Right now, no permits have been secured, so we can't move until we know that the permits have been
Well,
secured. So it's
have they
something we need to
applied for it?
discuss
The-
whether or
the-
not.
The permits are in hand. The
Not all the drain cleanout permits are in hand.
Just about. There, we have an approval from the township engineer on the bypass drain, the design of it. The missing piece was the easement that was required.
Okay.
That was denied.
And then that was the easement that was applied for, and then it was denied. So then can the other clean out be done? Because that's what I'm thinking of, just as a citizen. If there's drains that really are in need of cleaning, and there's causing flooding and different things, we all hear the comments, when will that be accomplished?
But we don't know, and that's something we're discussing
Okay.
tonight, is whether or not we want to put it in our budget.
There's answers, but if you want to
Okay.
take it offline, I can help explain it to you.
Yeah, no, I just,
It doesn't work by itself. You
Right.
can't do one with all the others.
right. But I just thought, it seems like we've been talking about it for a while, and then it was like, well, we need to get the budget, or the drains cleaned out. Wholeheartedly agree. But it just seems like we're not really moving forward in that area.
But,
Go ahead, Brian.
Amy had a question.
And just
But
like the one
wasn't
clarification piece, that the timing is because the township's TIF plan with Oakland County expired.
Okay.
Or was expiring. So when the TIF plan was readopted and agreed upon with the county last year, and I think it was May of '25.
When
May,
discussion
June,
started, it
something
got
like that.
approved in July or August.
Okay, so it got approved with the county, and that then gave this board confidence that we have a much larger chunk of money to spend moving forward.
Okay, because that was my comment, it said like something expired, and I thought, so it expired and just died, or is anything getting picked up, or, but if you're saying that it's been approved, and it's a bigger chunk of money, is there a timeline set up to begin the drain cleaning?
No.
Not yet, right?
okay, but, so if that property hadn't been sold and it's still sitting there, there would be no rush to do this. So Project Flex wasn't there some part of this thing that had to be complete before they could build on that property?
I don't want to talk about a private property, but the DDA's development plan included things like the ring road and streetscapes on Grand River, neither of which can move forward without the drain, regardless of individual property rights and what they want to develop on. So,
I'm curious about the rest of the drain, because I live on that part. So I just want you guys to be aware that I contacted Eagle and the Water Resource Commission, and they told me that if there's flooding, the township is liable. They are not liable. So when you're going to clean part on Wallbridge and to Milford Road or whatever, you need to clean all of it, all the way down.
So currently it's funded by us, by Wallbridge,
A portion
all
of
the way
it.
to Martindale Road. From
Yeah, and
Milford to Martindale.
And I live past that.
You're west of Martindale or
Yep.
south or west? Yeah, well that, again, that's the county, right, I get it, I
So I'm
understand.
just saying, there's homeowners in there.
Yeah, no.
And we're just like everybody else. And I should not have to get flooded out because a property that is on a floodplain that they bought 50 years ago, that they want to put a bypass in to drain into that drain. Now, you're going to flood all the way down, and that goes to the Huron River. So what's going to happen? I mean, all of that needs to be flowy and working. And if you're going to say it's going to cost $8 million and you only got $3 million, whatever, I mean,
Well, right
it
now,
all is a big picture, and,
Yes.
and everybody only wants to do this part, and I'm not responsible for this, and I'm not responsible for this.
Well, just for
The township needs
clarification-
to know all of it needs to get fixed.
the township does need to hear opinions on that. I agree. The DDA, the way that DDAs are created, we have a defined boundary.
And that's in the boundary.
The boundary
I looked
only
at the
goes to
circle.
Martindale.
I
The
looked at
boundary,
the circle, and it goes past that.
the boundary does not go beyond Martindale on that drain section. It does not. I can share with you a copy of the DDA boundaries. It does not go past
When I
there.
looked at it, it was past that.
And Brian, are you going to pull that up?
Yeah, so I'm just screwed.
So this is the boundary map right there.
Oakland County, unfortunately.
So we're only
No,
able,
unfortunately, it's Walbridge.
no,
No, it's
Yeah, because you want to put in a bypass to drain that
we're,
property.
we're not gonna get into the Project Flex again. I'm just trying
I'm
to
not into
explain.
Project Flex, I'm into the drain. This is a bypass for the drain.
What I'm explaining is we are only able to spend funds within the DDA boundaries. So we cannot spend funds on that drain west of where that Martindale Road is. Legally, we
Right.
cannot spend funds on that. This is our boundary where that dotted line is.
Oh, I thought it was
Yes.
for the drain. Yeah, I got it.
So right there where it crosses.
Our house doesn't get cleaned out either.
Right.
So legally, we are limited. That's, you'd have to discuss with the township or the Oakland County Drain
I have
Commission.
discussed it with the
But
township.
the DDA cannot legally spend funds
So
on
what I'm
that.
saying is until the township has enough funds to do that, the DDA shouldn't be cleaning out the rest of the drain.
Should or should?
Shouldn't.
Should not.
Right.
They should not be cleaning it
That'll
out
cause
until
flooding.
everybody
You'll
can
never get a
can
ring
other stuff
road, and
done.
you'll never get relief on Milford Road.
And we don't care about a ring road. We care about our houses flooding. That's what I care about. I've lived here for 25 years.
Without a ring road.
My husband's lived here for 53 years.
I understand. I get it.
And we don't want to be flooded out.
Okay, are we ready to talk about some projects?
Yeah.
Was there anything else then? Are you guys with the questions with the auditor and attorney? So now we're,
I think we're good, yeah.
okay.
Well, I mean, there's gonna be a huge more discussions, but I
Yep.
think we understand how to move forward.
Yeah, and then I think, well, before we go forward, what do you think the best approach would be then to start creating, I think it's gonna be a sit down with Amy, to start creating a plan for, unless you wanna put some notes together for us, or some kind of document that gives us like a standard operating procedure, like, again, just giving us some parameters and guidelines for like how the overall budget is, like when you sit down and you go through that, how are you creating that? How's that created to begin with? What are our responsibilities as chair people?
I think that's a policy that myself, Elisa, and whether it's the organizational committee, all need to be a part of that conversation.
That's kind of what I'm thinking, is we
Yes.
do that in a,
Right. Absolutely.
Okay,
We need to,
so-
we need to do about
Right.
50 different things. We
Yes.
do.
Yeah, and it
But
will
that's-
take a little while to put that stuff
Yes,
together.
but
for
that's
sure.
my thought, is we probably need to have a sit down.
We have no
Absolutely.
policy, that's why we keep hitting the wall.
Right,
We are not.
right. So,
Correct.
So we'll just make sure we have that on a future.
Absolutely, that will be
agenda
on for discussion on our
Can I ask a question?
organizational committee.
How come you don't have policies and procedures and parameters in place? How can you function as a DDA committee or whatever without that? That's insane.
So we have bylaws that are very vague, and I think that's part of what we have just all been asking questions, and this has been part of, it's been part of what we've been diving into all year, is like we are trying to, it's a lot to learn. I've been on this board for 5 years, and oh my God, if I hear one more thing about the drain, my head's gonna explode, and yet we haven't done anything with it, so it's frustrating, so I understand. And so I think just moving forward, from our perspective, if we wanna be the best we can be for you guys, we are trying our best to make sure that we have all these policies, so we can be better spoken
How come
about.
there haven't been any in place?
Nope, nobody's ever demanded it before, nobody's ever created it.
Well, we
We
thank
don't
you.
know.
Yeah,
We don't
Thank
know.
you for doing.
So we
The
are,
town-
so
the
we
township
just.
works off of precedents. There has been precedents for how things have been done in the past. And so that is how it's been done. And we're trying to move toward professionalism and to have everything actually documented and clearly stated.
That's why tonight's meeting
That's
should have been recorded and
Yeah.
put on the website sooner. I mean, you've kind of already null and voided your previous promises.
No, we're working toward professionalism and we're.
It was brought up in the meeting though, that it was going to be
Working on it.
that way.
Exactly, and that's why it was brought up that we needed to do this, and we realized that, and we're working toward getting to that clarification
Robert.
all the time.
Can I just address the recording comment for a second?
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
So, I hear you, I agree with you, I would love all of the meetings to be recorded, but what was voted on and approved was a schedule and list and quote for each of the regular meetings of each of the boards to be recorded. I know I'm not saying it's a good distinction, I agree with you, I would like to revisit it and update that budget and scheduling to include all of the special meetings like this one as well, but that's, Am I
Correct, and in history, anytime, this DDA
None of
has
the
never
special
had
meetings
special
that I've
meetings.
ever been to have ever been recorded.
Those are the ones that need.
I agree with you.
So how
I agree
do
with you, and I would like to.
How do we make it happen?
So,
We,
That's what we're
We
doing
have-
right now by getting your
Yes,
feedback.
yes.
We're saying that moving forward, yes, every meeting we have will be broadcast. We will ensure that that happens moving forward.
So we,
from what date forward?
From today, I will make a request that anytime we have a special meeting or a workshop, we will put that request in for a live stream.
Okay.
I cannot guarantee what that schedule is. If we're setting up, when we work with our vendor, we give them our annual schedule.
Okay.
So he approves all his availability in January.
Okay.
If we had a special meeting with a week's notice or 3 days' notice, I can make the request. I can't guarantee that he can fit that. I can try to find an alternate for recording, but I can't make a promise that that will happen depending on the time frame of how soon we know that. But I will 100% make the request, absolutely.
I wouldn't imagine we would have situations where we're going to be setting up meetings for 3 days in the future.
Hopefully not, but again, if I'm being held liable to everything that's being said, I'm saying that I can't guarantee that. I can guarantee I make that request as soon as we set the meeting date, but I can't guarantee the
What
availability.
flexibility do you have in the contract with the entity that records?
We just have a contract listing out the fee for each recording. There's not a flexibility for when we have to have notice, how many hours we guarantee.
So you don't need to provide a specific list and they then can't come back and go, wait a minute, that's not in the original contract from January, so we're not going to record the August event.
He can say that we don't have availability, we sectioned off all of these dates based on your request at the start of the year, so we could try to find an alternate to utilize. But again, I can't make a promise that we absolutely will be able to find someone.
Could we make a stipulation that if there isn't a recording to be done, the meeting date and time needs to be revised?
That is a suggestion that you can make to the board moving forward for them to consider.
Okay.
So I would address that to them and ask them if that's something they could consider in the future.
Yeah. Given all the comments we've gotten for the months, if we could
Yeah.
make that stipulation,
And-
I think that's very, very important. I think it protects the citizens and it protects the board members.
Absolutely. And I would say at this meeting, because it's listed as a workshop, we're not going to be making any decisions here tonight. These are recommendations.
Right.
So I would make a recommendation that that's something the board addresses at their next meeting in July.
Okay.
To
and
move
On the
forward.
14th?
just for transparency, this board can only control putting that in place
For this
meeting.
Board.
Right.
Yeah.
It would be up to the township board.
Planning commission,
and
everything
planning
else for their
commission.
own.
All the different committees would have to do that themselves. We can only control what happens here. We can't mandate
Right.
that the township board.
So when people appear at those meetings, they can make that motion or suggestion, or do they have to go in writing to make that suggestion?
So because of the comment, we can take that under advisement as a board to add that to our agenda.
Okay.
Yeah,
Please
and
do.
you could make at the township meeting or planning commission meeting during public comment.
Yeah.
Again, public comment is typically one-way communication, so you
Yeah.
could make that request, or you could submit a written request.
Okay.
But I can't guarantee what the follow-up would be for another board or commission. That's
Okay.
on there.
I think it would be very helpful.
I think
Is this-
maybe you guys maybe start at the township level, but there needs to be an update committee that makes sure that things like the debacle with the ad and well, we only do certain things change over time. Our zoning, a data center has gotten us into trouble because things weren't updated. We have a board working on a way it was done for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, and it takes these guys to finally say, hey, this needs to be updated. We're a modern city now. Things have changed. And maybe there needs to be more responsibility on these different boards to get themselves updated to using the internet, to using all these different ways of communicating and not just slapping things on a website and expecting everybody to know that that's where they have to go for information. So maybe there needs to be a general house cleaning and update of a lot of things that's been going on. And that's part of our problem, because when it comes to elections, I go, well, I haven't heard them doing anything bad, so we'll just re-elect them all. But that can't happen anymore, because that's gotten us into a really bad situation. So we need an update plan. Every year, we update for that next year, anything that's out there. Because this is crazy.
Brian?
Yes,
Can
Brian.
we go back to the budget?
Yes.
Projects, you mean?
Project, yeah.
Oh, or the budget or the project?
Project.
Project list.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just
Me
agenda
just-
item, please.
I got one question in regards to the budget. Can I get a hard copy of the DDA's budget tonight?
It's proposed, I mean, it's not, yeah, we haven't put it into place yet.
What about this year's DDA budget? Can I get a hard copy of that?
It's on
It's
the
available.
website.
It should be on the website. If not, I can,
On which website? The township's website or the DDA's website?
under meeting packets, if you look at the January packet, that's when it was accepted by the DDA board.
I think it's in there like quarterly.
If you could print that off for me, I'd greatly appreciate it.
I'll give you mine before we leave.
Do we have any pretty things to show, or are we just talking about?
Brian has the ability to pull up some of the stuff. I had saved some of the materials that we're talking about for references from Farmington, some from Howell, some of the stuff that was proposed to the township board for capital projects. So I'm not sure if there's a specific one you want to see, but we have the,
Anybody specifically want to start with?
Are we only limiting our conversation to this?
No.
Oh, okay.
And we're open to suggestions of what the public wants to see as well. Can we maybe start with Gateway?
So, Amy, I need to get that flash drive.
oh, sorry, I thought I gave it to you. My bad.
Talked about it, but
So as you guys probably know, it's New Hudson Drive? No.
New Hudson Road.
New Hudson Road, we are working to abandon New Hudson Road at the 6 points, turning the 6 points into 5 points. And the DDA would like to see a pretty landscape, art type gateway signage there. And Brian has worked on a mock-up of that we've presented before to the township board. So that's something we would be possibly considering for 2027.
And basically, can you tell us where we're at with this?
Yes, so
Abandonment?
the process for abandoning the road, because it's in a plat, was a very intensive and long process. Oakland County was the first step. They officially abandoned the road, so it's no longer under the Oakland County Road Commission purview. So the next step that we are on right now is the petition has been filed with the Circuit Court of Oakland County to abandon it. We have to get on a judge's case hearing. But basically what is happening is the section of New Hudson Road, let me scroll down just a little bit, right down here has been approved to be abandoned by Oakland County under the condition it was proposed that this would be blocked off to traffic moving forward. That is the plan for the DDA to put up that gateway signage. When it's abandoned at the local level, what happens is this road gets split down the middle and the property goes to the adjoining property owner. So this portion of the road is owned by currently Comerica. So they would get awarded the property on the north side of that. The south side would go to different property owners that abut that area. And then we would be putting a sidewalk and curb on here along with the signage. So that's what's proposed. We did, as I said, the petitions have been submitted to Oakland County courts, but we haven't gotten an update on a trial or a case when the case is going to be reviewed. So it could be a month, it could be 6 months. We're not sure, so we're waiting to hear. So I do think it's wise to, if we want to do something there, which we have said to Oakland County that we're going to, whether or not it's the pretty gateway signage or just curbing it and sidewalks. We should include it for our budget next year.
I guess I haven't walked past, I only walked to the New Hudson Inn. Is there a sidewalk in front of the New Hudson Inn?
No.
No, it's where their motorcycle parking is right now.
So what do we do about that? Can we do any, I mean,
Because if we,
Right away.
what's that?
Only if there's a right of way.
It's their parking lot.
Yeah, that motorcycles park out front.
Yeah, but is that the right of way or is that New Hudson Inn's property?
Brian, would you like to take that
I
question?
park in the right of way right now,
What?
and, well, the
That
front
orange
portion
line.
of the
This
building.
is supposed to be the right of way, so technically
can
they're
see
parking
that
in the right of way
yellow
right
line.
now.
That's the entrance.
So they're not parking on their property,
They're parking in the road right of way
the
today.
road right of way.
Well, it looks like the yellow line is like almost on their front porch.
It
It is.
Yeah, it looks
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah. So what would we, can we put, is it sidewalkable?
I mean, when we update the streetscape plan, we're gonna have to address getting enough space next to that building, because I do think, just based on this, that the aerial's not 100% accurate, but it's not normally off that far.
Okay.
My guess is the front of that building is in the road right of way to some extent. The sidewalk will end up being right in front of that, and then we'll have to figure out a different method for motorcycle parking. If the road commission allows on-street parking, we could maybe do some angled parking for bikes or something like that in front of it. But yeah, we'll be looking to put the sidewalk in that then eventually connects over to the sidewalk in front of the parking lot.
Okay, so when you give that property to Comerica,
When the court does, not
when
us.
the court,
Yes.
do they have to fix it and make it look pretty and remove the road base? And, or is it just gonna sit there looking ugly?
They would be responsible for what they do with their portion of it.
Can
We
we
can't
condition it?
force-
We can't condition anything?
No, not with this.
Well, that-
Because it's
I
the
mean-
courts awarding it, it's not the township awarding it.
How far does the road right of way go, the New Hudson Drive? How far back does it go to the northeast?
The abandonment goes right up to that property line.
To,
What's the whole sense of
right there?
Yep.
Yes.
How
Because
close is
anything
beyond
north
that?
of there is outside of the plat.
Got it.
Okay, so that parking lot there is the new parking lot.
Yes.
I think it's silly that we're abandoning it, and then it's just gonna look abandoned, and it's not gonna be rehabbed into the two properties that are
It's gotta
absorbing
start
it.
somewhere.
And the corner property with the little gas station could use that property to maybe make it a viable small coffee shop
They
or ice cream shop
They can't.
if they
It's not our
had.
property.
And I
And
understand
a
what
little
you're
more
saying.
property.
We're limited to what's available for public funds to use. We can't dictate what private property owners do with their land. We definitely are having conversations. We've been meeting with people from Comerica. We've been meeting with the owners here. We've been meeting with the property owner there to talk about a larger plan in the future. But at this point, I'm not really comfortable giving all those detailed conversations because they're not making commitments yet. They're going through different ideas and iterations of a potential plan, but the road, we absolutely don't want to see it stay like this. That's not our intention, Amy, but we have to start somewhere, and step one is
Well,
getting this
yeah,
curb.
I-
Step two would be the gateway signage. Step three is working with this property owner and possibly making this a pavilion space, a park space, seating. But there are a lot of utilities there, so it's not buildable, so you really can only do landscaping type stuff, which is great.
Parking?
Could be great. You could possibly do that,
They could do
yeah.
parking
That's been
for
discussed.
the little guy on the corner?
Yes, that's been
He
discussed
doesn't?
with them. Absolutely.
So to kind of help you guys understand how the DDA functions is we are trying to help people move projects forward. Those property owners cannot just go out and abandon the road and grab all of that property.
Oh, I know.
So that had to be done by us, and so it's very expensive and it takes years. But the purpose of doing it was not to create a shitty road that was left. I'm sorry. But it was to allow them to have area to build, to
Right.
expand
Well,
their
but
property.
I'm thinking
yes.
future, and instead of maybe spending a lot of money to put something there that might interfere with what somebody's doing, maybe we need to step up that process of communicating with those people and trying to get them to move on something, because now we have it coming.
Well, unfortunately, with the agreement with the county, we do need to put something there. So we could put some big, large boulders. We could put some flower pots. We could do some gateway signage. the township owns the property. For the DDA to do something, that's why I went to the Board of Trustees a couple months ago and said, hey, we'd like to propose this. There was a number of things they didn't like about it. We will be coming back to them because we have to do something. So part of this meeting is to discuss what are some ideas that people would like to see in that spot. We don't get to decide. We will create some proposals, work with Ryan on that, submit it to the Board of Trustees, and then, we'll see what gets approved.
And when we
So
say
that's the
that,
process.
when we say that spot, we mean just road frontage.
Yes, just the part that we
This
will,
portion down, we built ourselves a little cushion to be able to put something like gateway signage in this abandonment. So this portion approximately would be available for us to utilize. So we're not limited to just right here. It would go back a little bit. So if we wanted to do gateway signage or landscaping, we'd have the space to do that.
You've allowed.
Because part of the problem with our downtown area is it isn't walkable.
We agree
We
completely.
have sidewalk, we don't have sidewalk, and, I was totally excited when the parking lot, I thought, oh, now they're gonna do New Hudson's next. Because it's really, can we use any of our money to incentivize? Have a contest that says, give us a submission of how you would like to improve the front of your store.
We have
and
facade improvement grants that are available. We are meeting as a design and appearance committee on possibly expanding that to bring non-conforming up to conforming usages for some of these properties that are older businesses that may not have the funds. So that's something that's being discussed. But as I said, we do have a facade improvement grant that we offer that goes up to $20,000 that we have had some businesses utilize. And the sidewalks, one of the projects that the DDA has identified for next year is a priority listing for sidewalk connections to look at where we're lacking, what's priority one for us. But I will be upfront that a lot of the issues come into the sewer line that runs through the downtown with Oakland County. They're not familiar with where all of those lines go. They're really old, they're clay, so they're crumbling in spots, which is why under some of the properties you get such flooding over there, the water just doesn't drain. And in order to do the sidewalks, you have to dig into that, and it will most likely create even more damage. So it's dominoes. It's like you have to wait until that's done before you can redo the streetscape. You have to also wait for the drain before you can redo the streetscape because you're causing more flooding.
Okay, well, and then maybe we need some forethought further than a year out to try to do
absolutely.
something.
Yeah, and those
A lot of
conversations
these
are happening.
things are, if we're gonna work to make this town look cool, we gotta start with the underground then and start getting it in place so when we can do this stuff, we have money.
Absolutely.
We have money. We can make sidewalks.
And that's why you're hearing us talk over and over about things like the drain, because it's a linchpin for so many of our other projects. And until we can do that, all we can do is be ready for as soon as that's completed to move on to these other projects. But we also, as an
it sounds like
organization,
the abandonment's been in place for a long time, and we haven't thought about what we want to do with that.
I wouldn't say that at all.
We've been discussing that, we've been discussing that for
Years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just, we knew it was gonna take a long time, and it took a couple years to get it abandoned and all the approvals and,
We had found the
so
bond.
yeah, so we had, but was there a problem with how we were gonna do this signage? Did you guys want us to do something different on this?
They wanted us to be consistent with branding, like to take into account the look of other roundabouts. We want to make sure whatever's done with the streetscape in the future, that it matches with that, so to really put thought into it.
But you don't want us to wait to do this till we get the streetscape done?
maybe.
Say no.
Well,
Say no.
you have to do
You have to do
something.
We have to do something, but
Right.
we might not
What
do signage.
I
if
don't
we
want you
don't
to spend
that.
so much money on the grand final vision of that until you know what the rest of it's gonna look like.
Sure.
If we know that things might need to change, I wanna do enough to make it look decent and fulfill the obligation, but not be wasting
Yeah, makes sense.
mega
And what are you
versions
gonna,
of it.
what are you gonna do with that little one next to the inn? Because I heard that nothing can go in there because it's been closed down for so long? Are you gonna change your rules so a business can go in there?
It's
Or
not,
are you
let
guys
me
gonna
correct
adopt
you right
it?
from there. It's not that nothing can go in there. A gas station can't go in there.
I thought
Again.
food couldn't go in there. 'Cause
No,
I knew
a
someone
gas
that wanted to
station
put food
cannot
thing
go in there. That's the limited use. Brian can speak to anything else. It's zoned as any other business in the downtown, but a gas station, because it's been out of operation for so long, it cannot go in there again because our zoning ordinance doesn't allow for gas stations in the downtown.
So food could go in there.
Absolutely, yes.
Also, it's 5 points, not 6 points anymore once you block that road off, right?
Yep, and that's what Elisa had said, is that we're working on going from
So
6
if
points to
a
5 points.
business is gonna go in there, then whatever you put in there, you have to be mindful of parking.
Yep, and these are conversations that we're having, absolutely.
So you could do something as simple as, obviously this is a bigger picture item, and if the streetscape changes design elements, it doesn't need to look like this, but we do acknowledge that we have the obligation to put something there. It could be landscape boulders with some ornamental trees behind it, something like that. In the meantime, that's not a substantial investment, but you're improving the aesthetics. And I think we gave ourselves something like 40 to 60 feet in depth. I don't remember the exact dimension there, but you can do some turf, you can do some landscape beds, you can do some things to soften it up so that from the road as you pass by, you're not looking at the pockmarked road that sits there today, you're looking at a landscape bed of some kind.
Brian, does that match the roundabouts?
That was where the inspiration from the sign came from,
Okay.
was the round.
So at least that would be cohesive
freestanding wall. Yeah.
with all the, okay.
Yeah.
So that's a start for us, I guess.
So it goes to branding.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same font and the
Okay,
same color. and
but
stuff.
we talked about, we might change the, we want to change the font.
Papyrus is a trigger.
Yeah, we want to get rid of papyrus, so, yeah.
Amy, is it possible for you and Brian to have a conversation with the board of trustees to really just get an idea of what they're actually looking for? Because I feel like that's where our disconnect is right now.
Sure.
And really don't want to continue to create things that aren't going to quite fit what you guys are looking for, so.
Well, and we need to work on this branding piece before, like, if this is a project we want to do next year, then we have to work on branding, logo, getting rid of papyrus, whatever.
You could do the actual text on it separately, like if you like the base and the freestanding wall idea. You
I like
could
it.
build
I like that. It's rustic but modern, I guess. But it, you know.
And how difficult is it to replace the lettering on a signage like that in the future if
Okay.
branding changes?
Okay. Would we keep the name 6 Point?
5.
Just, I know, I'm just saying, like, I kind of feel like, you know, it's historical.
I think New Hudson. New Hudson isn't mentioned, and a lot of people identify with New Hudson.
Yeah, I think you're right.
We talked about that.
Yes, sir.
Personally, I think abandoning what we used to call the dead-end road is a horrible idea. You put that new parking lot in there, you can't, if you're going east on Grand River, you cannot get into that parking lot. You can't get into the bar, during rush hour. I think it's a horrible idea to abandon it. You should use that as access to the parking lot
Take the pressure off.
and to the bar and the winery. That you can't get into the winery, excuse me, either. Traffic backs up so far.
I agree
You
with
should
that,
be
because I
using
think
that, not abandoning it.
You and, I mean, do you know how many, I
I like
don't
how
know
that
how
went
many
over.
accidents I see in front of me. I share a parking lot with the winery. And I mean, it is accident after accident because people come flying up that left turn lane.
So, he's right.
My thought with our, not to get off to a different subject, but is once we get that crosswalk in, I'm hoping, and I think too, we need to address the safety of the speed for that, the movement in and out of the businesses, as well as keeping the pedestrians safe. But I'm hoping that once that crosswalk is in, that it will force people to slow down.
It won't matter. We were gridlocked, and the car came right out of the bar, went right over my car. And I was gridlocked.
Oh my God.
Why wasn't a roundabout Would a roundabout have not worked at our 5 Point?
No.
No? Not enough
The road
property?
commission looked at it and studied it, and it was gonna take an insane amount of right of way. Like they needed to go into the triangle spot on the corner. They needed the house that still needs to come down to go away.
That would've been okay.
The Zot building, they would have had to knock that down.
Okay.
So like
I didn't know
truly
if they could
the
like
scale.
off-center,
Yeah,
but it seemed
the
like
scale
there was
is
a lot of
insane.
property there.
It was also, what was it? It was not going to be until like 2034 or some crazy far out projection that they were giving for.
And a crazy cost. I don't know. They have looked into it. The road commission has put the kibosh on that. They're not looking at it any longer.
Which one? Sidewalks?
Do you have any insight on sidewalks?
I have a meeting with the sidewalk committee, the second meeting of July, to talk about some potential priority sections and whether or not they would be agreeable to those or if there were any major issues with those.
I did have a question on,
Yep.
as far as the sidewalk committee, the tree committee, like, when do they meet? Who are they? How do we go to those meetings?
They meet as needed. I don't know anything about a tree committee. Is there a tree
There's
committee?
definitely a tree committee.
There was a tree
Okay,
committee.
okay.
Every developer is paid into it.
There's a tree fund, but I don't know if there's a committee.
We had an ad hoc tree committee at one point in time. I don't know if
Yeah.
it still exists.
Okay.
The pathway committee does exist when there are questions about connectivity or like the interjurisdictional or cross-jurisdictional questions that come up with South Lyon or sometimes Novi. We will meet to talk about what each community might have to budget for joint improvements, things like that. So we do meet when there's a need. The Davis Creek project.
Where is that published?
What do you mean? Published
How
or
do we
public?
go to those meetings?
There are staff meetings right now, so it's Patty, Chris Enlow, myself, Leslie, and if it involves City of South Lyon, their staff. City of South Lyon's staff will have changed. The last time we met there was the previous city manager, so we'll have to figure out who gets involved from their side.
And those committees are generally more reactive rather than proactive, I would say. Usually if something's brought to their attention, then they schedule a meeting, but I don't believe it's a general public meeting like board meetings are or anything like that. It's just internal staff meeting to discuss something that was brought to their attention.
Yeah, no decisions get made other than recommendations.
And pathway is different than the trail committee.
Correct.
Do you have any
What's
insight
the
on that?
The Trail Council includes a representative from the City of South Lyon, Lyon Township, there's Patty, the supervisor of Milford Township, representative from Oakland County, and then representatives from some of the adjacent trail networks also attend those meetings.
And you go to those as well?
I do when needed, yes.
Where,
So
what-
just finishing up the gateway, since this is a budget meeting, finding ideas what we're gonna do and then also providing numbers, obviously. And then I think, again, with your meeting with the sidewalk people, not only what, some suggestions to focus on and then obviously the costs associated with it.
So just so I have clarity on the direction that I'm getting, I want to ensure, so estimates will take a little bit to get. So when I get this meeting, the second meeting of July, my goal was to present 3 or 4 different sections that we'd kind of talked about priority-wise to say, are they realistic? Is this something we think the township would support? Are there any issues regarding streetscape, drainage, anything like that that are going to stop us from that? And then I would request some approximate costs for those projects. So I probably wouldn't have those to you until August, most likely. Just to,
I mean, again, we're
okay.
just trying to put together.
Just want to make sure.
The
Okay.
budget in time for the budget meeting. But yeah, I mean, we've discussed so much over the last 4 years I've involved in, just every project basically hits a wall. So it'd be nice to just find something that can actually move forward.
Yes. And I would say I know that we've talked, and I believe the I can't even say realistically that I remember that conversation with the organizational committee, but if you have specific sections, any board members that you think should be a priority, please email me within the next week so I can look at those and potentially bring those up to try to flag questions or concerns about those areas. Because I have some that we had talked about, but I don't know that the full board has had an opportunity to send me requests.
So connecting the parking lot to the school, I assume, is one of those.
That area that we were looking at that based on the conversation with the township committee members, the airport parcel that we talked about, the section that runs from the 6 points connecting along Grand River to the west. We talked about that as a potential priority area. So those were the 3 that I was going to work on first and foremost.
The west is, I thought that is pretty complete.
What's that?
To the west?
On Grand River. I think Brian can kind of show on the map where we're looking at.
I'm sorry, I don't know about that piece.
And what are we thinking?
And then I
of
think
doing?
that portion in front of the cemetery too was a question that I had for them. So, what was that?
What are we planning on doing on that section?
I'm having a meeting with the sidewalk committee for the township to propose a couple different areas that the DDA would like to find out. Are we able to do a sidewalk there? Is there any limitations on that property? If it's possible to do sidewalks there, is that something that the township feels would be a good investment of money so that we can determine whether or not to budget for those projects?
And the piece on that one corner that's vacant, that used to be a restaurant, that is owned by somebody?
Yes.
TV Players?
Yeah, that's privately owned.
Okay, and what about the other point?
Just south of there?
Yeah, the one that just has trees growing on it, in between the industrial and the other.
Yes, that is privately owned. That's all privately owned.
Privately owned?
Yep.
And it's zoned what?
It's a New Hudson core, which is like a mixed use between commercial and residential.
Okay.
All of this area is the same.
Okay, and the building with the White House on it?
Yes, that is
Soon to be gone.
hopefully.
That is industrial, or has that
No.
been rezoned?
It was rezoned along with all the others to that same mixed designation for commercial residential.
And that building isn't contaminated in any way that it could be used for they can reuse that building?
We don't know. We know that there is there has been environmental studies done. The realtor has reached out and said they've had them done, but I don't know the results of them.
And do we communicate with that realtor about possibilities of what could go there?
Yes, we've been in communication, and that's how I'm aware of that house.
Athletic center, gathering center, I mean, there's...
And we've inquired about possibly purchasing it, and we were told that they're not interested in this time. We have inquired about getting a portion of it to be able to do some landscaping along that 6 points, and they're not interested at this time, so those questions have been made. They have joined numerous parcels, and they're looking to sell as one larger development, which would be able to host something like a recreational or potentially residential. But again, because it's private, we can't dictate what they do. They would just have to follow the current zoning.
That chunk there has got parking, it's got everything that could turn that building into something cool.
Absolutely.
That we would want to come downtown to go to.
I agree.
That's what we're missing is...
I agree.
Well,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So when you come out of the trail, where the crossing is on Milford Road, you cross over. So there is no sidewalk, so I'm talking about on the west side of Milford Road. There's no sidewalk from where the trail is at Milford
that
Road
corner.
to New Hudson Drive.
Right.
There's no trail, there's no sidewalk there. Is that something that has ever been discussed? Because if you get off the trail and you want to ride your bike over to New Hudson Drive to get over, my husband lives at Grace Ray's place.
Yep.
I finally figured out a way to ride my bike over there. But there's that one stretch I gotta go on Milford Road, and so is that ever been discussed?
It has in Crosting, but I will make an inquiry about that.
There's like 3 homes right there that you gotta go on their lawn.
The biggest problem on that stretch is the drain crossing that little portion of the bridge.
Okay.
Whether there's enough width to actually fit a sidewalk or a pathway along the road.
But you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's a disconnect.
I've played Frogger there myself.
You what?
I've played Frogger there myself.
There's a sign there that looks like a real estate sign. What is that?
That's for a property that's, Brian, can you show what property is for sale right over
the
there
one
that they
that's-
have listing? That property back there is for sale, so they have that sign right by the trail.
How are they gonna get back there? On that little chunk of road that only one car can go down?
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
Respectfully, I'm happy to answer these kind of questions all day because those inquiries, when the property owners put these things up for sale, come to me and speak logistics and try. So I've had those conversations and I'm familiar with them. I'd like this board to focus on their project list.
Well, I'm just
because-
thinking future,
Yeah, I mean,
connecting sidewalks
So
to
there's
make
a
our
lot of
town
things
more
in play.
walkable.
So it's a good example of, so the township has a big pathways master plan for which roads that we can and can't require a builder or a developer to install their pathways on. Milford Road is one of them, so when that property gets developed, they're gonna have to figure out, although they only have like 20 feet of
I
frontage
know,
on there,
right.
they're gonna have to figure out how to provide themselves some access, as well as provide their little slice of the pathway pie. And so a property like that's gonna have to get really, really creative about how they access it. And they're aware of those challenges, and I'm putting those issues in front of them as the realtor so that they're going to a potential buyer with some realistic expectations of what they're going to have to improve to meet our standards.
Yeah, when that sign went up, I was totally
Yeah, that's a lot bigger of a property than you'd think.
Yeah.
Raina?
Okay, thanks.
So anyways.
Raina, I think we're done with the questions on the budget, so if you wanted to, unless you really want to stay, it's up to you, but.
We will continue the conversation.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, but appreciate anytime you want to, Yeah, we're just trying to figure out what our questions are.
Yeah.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you.
so much, Raina.
Okay, question on the budget is, if we
Definitely.
don't do anything with the money, and we save it, and we save it for future use, because how can we spend money on something we don't know what we're going to have?
Well, all we can do is budget for the expected next year's projects. If we don't spend, it goes into what's called a fund balance. So the next time we budget, if we are looking to spend more than we bring in with our TIF funds, then we would show it as incoming from the fund balance to fund that project.
I personally think that we should limit what we do until we find out how viable our town is going to be in the next year or two, or 6 or 8.
Yep.
If it's under siege of trucks flying through it, then I don't see spending a lot of money. If we have to do something, I would do something minimum on that corner.
Yep.
Save the money, and hey, we could do something really good in 2 years if we
Understood.
don't have a collar around our neck.
Absolutely, understood.
And I think that would be the best use of our money.
Yep, and I do think that things that we're proposing are not extremely large ticket items. I think they're all very reasonable in cost, but that's why we're meeting here, is to get feedback on some of these that we're proposing. So if we can kind of go forward with a couple of the next ones that we wanted to touch base with. I don't know if we're working kind of from the list or just in general, or do you want me to kind of go through kind of a
Yeah, well, yeah,
touch base?
quickly go through them because there doesn't seem to be a lot of.
Okay. So I put together a list of potential projects for the 2027 budget, and this is where I'm looking for feedback, because the goal would be if you say that these are agreeable, then I would go forward and getting some cost estimates and then bringing them back before the board. So one thing that we've been working on is the New Hudson Cemetery. We are recruiting quotes to replace fencing. We've talked about potential beautification in the future, some minor updates to it. Likely some of that will happen in this year, but we talked about including it in next year's budget because we'll possibly be looking at phasing, doing maybe the front portion, then the east or the west. So I think that including something for that cemetery in next year's budget would be wise.
Can I just make a comment? I was talking with Deb about that, and also you mentioned the whole sidewalk issue. And so, if Deb, you can connect with Amy, because you said you knew people that could figure out where people are buried.
Sounds very ominous, but okay.
Deb and I had a great conversation.
Deb knows where the bodies are buried.
Deb has connections to find the bodies. So if
Okay.
Deb can connect with Amy on that, that would be great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Glad to help. I see ads for those kind of people too, and that's our journal, so it's funny.
I can get a couple of mediums to help you.
I'm gonna kind of skip different areas, so we'll get to them all, but I'm just gonna kind of skip through. We already talked about the gateway signage. We've talked about murals, moving that forward to potential locations, being the Zott Collision Shop and the 56200 Grand River Avenue. So I would like to see something like that. I think it would be wise to include that in the budget. I am actively working with the DIA on some potential to get pricing. They also have a program for public art that could help fund it potentially. I'm trying to find out the specific regulations to be a part of that program, but I will bring that back. We talked about some improvements to the parking lot, doing landscaping, applications of fertilizer so we can actually get grass growing in some of those areas. There was some discussion about on the north end of the parking lot possibly doing a pocket park of sorts, whether it's some seating, some games area, possibly an exercise park, family area. We also talked about identifying Lion Center Drive, where the trail crosses there, doing a rapid flashing beacon light, because right now it's just the signage with, I think, that yellow light on it. We also talked about the Rice Street house once we determine if it has any historical significance, discussing with the township if there isn't, if the township is looking to try to bring that building down and do something, whether it's a pocket park, additional parking, deciding what we want to do with that area or what we'd like to recommend. The sidewalks we talked about. Wayfinding signage we discussed. There is a need to replace some of the outdated signage. One thing that I had put in my request was to have the DDA undergo a new branding campaign, and that would fall in line. I don't think wayfinding signage should be approved until we decide what we're going to do with the branding campaign. I also was requested to look into the potential of a social district, so we're doing some digging on that. And then,
Did Christina do anything with branding for us? Was there anything in our marketing strategy that she did with
the
regards
only
to
thing
that?
directly related to branding was her recommendation to brand the different districts within our DDA, but nothing as far as concept plans on that level. And then kind of back towards the start, again, identifying areas for potential exercise parks or family park areas, interactive art, playgrounds, things like that we talked about. So those are some of the ideas that we looked at. So obviously, if anybody has additional that they want to add to the list, just kind of determining what we want to move forward with trying to get some prices for.
Robert, when we met the joint committees, kind of one of the conclusions was, hey, we did this strategic plan, we should look at that and kind of moving forward that, which is also part of this defining districts. I sort of feel like, it's all a nice idea, but not if the Board of Trustees really isn't interested in the DDA doing that. And so, really needing to get some insight from the Board of Trustees on the strategic plan and the direction to go. I know she had sent it to you and Chris, but what is next steps with that?
That's a great question.
Or we can, yeah.
I'm one person. I am not the board, so
Is there a way to facilitate this? I just don't, again, we spend a lot of time doing things that go nowhere. And so I would like to know beforehand that this is going nowhere and let's just not bother.
How many districts are there?
There's only one DDA boundary. When we had a strategic plan done up, it was a potential recommendation that the DDA may want to investigate marketing and branding ourselves with different districts, whether it's the industrial district or the historic downtown district, the commercial district, the residential.
Yes, I'm thinking.
So there's all sorts of
the size
ideas.
of our downtown DDA isn't that big. We're going to go,
it's bigger than a lot of them are.
Really?
The actual DDA.
The actual
boundaries that
DDA
we have
boundary,
are-
yes.
The DDA boundary, the downtown district, yes,
Right.
very
Yeah.
small, but that would be one of several districts.
Yeah, our DDA is almost
boundaries
4,000 acres
I wasn't
inside,
thinking
so.
about that.
Yeah.
on that.
Yeah, our main street is very small,
But that's part
absolutely.
of the idea of that suggestion was you talk about, hey, here is, the downtown New Hudson part, you brand that one way, then you say, hey, here is our, industrial research area, maybe that gets some sort
But
of fun
who
branding.
looks at that? I mean, I don't care where all those districts are.
That's good feedback too, because this
Yeah.
is a suggestion
I
that
don't, I
came out
can
of a
see it's
consultant.
industrial.
And
The only
that's
one I can't see that's industrial is, we all know.
absolutely, and that's the feedback that we want to hear, but keep in mind too that the DDA branches extend outside of just
The downtown.
the downtown and the residential, because we also work very heavily with Oakland County, whether it's Oakland Works, their colleges, where we're trying to recruit for companies in our industrial district that are advanced research and manufacturing. So it may be beneficial to be able to brand our industrial district so we can use for marketing for things like the community college for Michigan Works.
Maybe limited
But
to one or two and not all
Absolutely.
these individual, so
Yeah.
many little districts that, who really cares about them.
Absolutely, and that's-
Well, like if you go to
Major.
Dearborn has some very defined districts, and they utilize that for their marketing promotion.
And even direction.
And yeah, direction, right? So they'll say, oh yeah, it's in the whatever blah 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 district. So so we kind of were thinking about something like that, to because we're so unique, that we could do something like that that would I think maybe bring a little bit more character to what we do have. People are just like, they don't really know how expansive we are. So if we put some names to it, we could.
Well, I do know it's difficult to figure out where you live because we have so many different names. You're New Hudson,
Yes.
but yet,
That's all part of that branding.
Yeah.
so I'd rather say branded by cities than necessarily what's done in that area. That we actually know, I mean, I'm driving now looking for signs going, where does it actually say that I just went from South Lyon to New
Absolutely.
Hudson?
There's some of
Because
those,
it's not clear.
and that's where we're talking about wayfinding signage too, because, and some of the major roads, like where you go on Grand River, you have you're now leaving Lyon Township or welcome to Lyon Township, but they're
Right.
not on every area. But we also do struggle because we have hurdles such as, like you said, with addresses and everything else. Within our DDA, we have mailing addresses of New Hudson, we have mailing addresses of Wixom, so we're trying to clarify what our identity is too, and it's something that we're continuing to work on.
I want to go back to just with something that Elisa was talking about with having these projects and them not going anywhere. And I know you directed the question to Robert, but I don't see this. I mean, yes, we have to get the board to approve our projects, but there are things on here that I'm going back to 4 years ago. Brian did mock-ups for pocket parks for us. and it got voted down, and it, hold on, I just have to like, put together how I say things. Not because I'm not being transparent. It got voted down for reasons because certain people did not want them to happen, who were actually a part of our board, okay? No one in this room included. Let's just leave it at that. And that was very frustrating because every time we attempted to get something done, it was, no, 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 you have to build a road. So to me, we have to clear and drain and we have to build a road. This means absolutely nothing.
Are there projects, are there proposed projects that we could execute that don't involve township property that we could do autonomously? I think those are some of the ones I'd be interested in seeing.
I mean, we own the Costello property. We own that small little L piece that was next to Putter's. I think Brian's pulling up the map of the.
I mean, the Costello property should be on this list as a potential.
Well, here's the problem. Again, we can't develop anything with it until the drain's done.
Right.
But you do have to account for in your budget for next year how to handle the property for the interim, right? So weren't you saying that?
Well, we would have to have money budgeted for whether we're paying for insurance coverage for it or maintenance for it or whatever. There's something associated with it,
whether you're
but
fixing it, whether you're demoing it.
Right, and I think that'd fall into the operational, I think, the minimal operational expenditures.
yes, exactly.
Where is that piece of
Yeah.
property?
Costello.
Even the properties that we own, you still have to go through planning before you're gonna make anything happen.
Yes, true.
If you're building something.
Yeah.
So you guys, if you pour sidewalk, you don't have to go through planning?
Well, no, that would, but like, I guess, I mean, there's things that, there's varying levels of review of things, like, I guess, like, if you want to get new flowers, I don't know that needs.
I don't know if I need to sit on this floor and do all this work to get flowers.
It was a bad example.
But an accurate one.
If it's temporary, we can do it. If it's permanent, we can.
But if we wanted to work with, I don't even know that this is a great example necessarily, but if we want to work with the private business on murals,
Right.
things like that.
Which, I guess that's a perfect segue.
Okay, could be a potential.
let me
SEMCOG
then.
just scheduled a workshop on murals and public art in July, so I'll.
Can you send that to me?
So we can go to that and be told we can't do murals because we're going to offend people, which is what we've been told for the past 4 years on murals.
So.
And like,
to that, I would
again,
say-
it's like,
Well, how did
it's a freaking mural.
SEMCOG is a great and I don't know how many of you are familiar with SEMCOG, so I'll just say this: it's the Southeast Michigan Council of Governments. It's a regional planning entity where not all, but most of it's a 7-county area in Southeast Michigan, and then all of the different levels of government under those counties and community colleges and whatever, they all get together. They have a bunch of resources, educational programming, whatever. The township is a member of that. By extension, all of you are able to attend their events and use their resources. So it's another thing to reach out to. And so something like this is where they will walk through, how do you start up something like this? What considerations do you need to have? What opposition are you going to run into? How do you handle that? They may have suggestions on model agreements on how to do some of this stuff, but that's, yeah.
And those are actually all things that we've looked into.
Right.
Like,
But it's also, it's like, yes, you have had issues in the past with it. I'm just one person. I support the idea. But doing something like this is, you're asking, well, what's maybe worth working on? In my opinion, that's something that you can do that is relatively low cost, has a visual impact for people. It doesn't have to be something that's so long term that you've wasted a bunch of money if you have to redo something when the streetscape changes. So that's an example of something that to me has the characteristics of something that could be worth spending your time and energy.
Which we've been talking about for 4 years.
Okay.
Correct. So I'm like,
I mean,
at what point can we get it done?
We're talking about a mural, right?
Right.
And there's a mural in South Lyon. Did anybody talk to them as to what they've done and how difficult was it and what are the easier
Yes,
steps?
and I will let you know that that mural was not installed by their DDA because of a lot of issues regarding it. It was installed by their historical society with some additional funds kicked in by the DDA. Lyon Township does not have a historical society. It doesn't have a nonprofit group that deals specifically with art. So that's where we struggle because local government, as we know, does have a lot more restrictions.
There's a South Lyon area historical society that may be interested in helping.
I would gladly welcome that.
Okay.
So,
I don't know if you could, there's that one building on the Ring Road, and it's that brick building. And we were discussing it on a Facebook interchange, because there's support.
on which
for this.
portion of the Ring
It's
Road?
the other one you identified.
Oh, the 56200 Grand River.
Oh, is that it?
That's the other one. Yep, those are kind of the end caps to our traditional
and that's where
downtown.
the mural would go. Whoever
Yeah.
it was, she said she was the owner of the building.
She's
and
agreeable
would
to possibly doing something.
definitely
So is
want
Zod.
A
So,
sign on the side.
yeah, and I think that's part of what's held us up in years past, not the only thing, but we didn't have owners that were looking to really do something there. Now we have those. So I think now is the time to move
They'd
forward.
be a good one to give some money to. They've had
Yeah, absolutely.
businesses in there, but they all look like catastrophes, but if the outside was more appealing,
Yeah,
I think they could be successful. Make it look more like what we want our town to look like. Maybe
Absolutely.
a little more rural, a little more like Farmington, a little bit more like downtown South Lyon with some character.
and we have met with the owners of that building to discuss our facade improvement grant. They're aware of what that program offers, and as I said, we've had conversations with them about a mural,
Maybe you
so.
have to do some of this.
The sign came down on there, and it looks like they're doing some kind of work.
They're fixing the interior of that building right now, but they haven't identified users yet.
Yeah, but that white sign is down.
Yes, yep, yeah.
And I don't remember if I actually answered your question, Melissa.
It was really more rhetorical than anything. It was like, basically, we already had approval to do
Do they
something,
have,
but it was
phone number?
within our board that was getting
248
declined for
437
various reasons.
9929.
Talked about off-
I think you're also
I will
ahead of
reach
the
out.
game
I know
this
they've
year
moved
in
buildings
that you're
from
doing
Lyon
this
Township
now.
into McHattie Park, so.
Yeah, all right,
You
I'll
have
reach out, thank you.
Some people here that are giving you some feedback on things, and we have a little more of that dialogue and have buy-in so that we don't have things get dropped at the finish line again.
Yeah.
Can I share my dream for 2027? So Brian and Robert, I would really love permission to use that useless piece of township property at the curve of South.
Lions Center,
Lions Center
No.
Drive.
no,
New Hudson
Drive West.
West.
That's
Yes.
the last thing.
All these names.
By the
airport.
And so Patty has very strongly stated that she does not like Noble Wind benches. So Brian, I need you to help us to find whatever our character is that is going to work there. I would love to put some benches and flower pots and modify what you've done to actually get something that can be approved. And
I'm not disagreeing with you, but the thing that I think you're going to run into, what I was hearing is the resistance to that project and location from the rest of the township board was access
Parking,
to
yes.
this.
I am not creating an art park. I left out the explode.
Okay.
I just want to put a place for you to sit when you're walking your dog, Robert.
Okay.
Just
for
like the other
moments.
benches that we have on Grand River that don't have
Yes.
parking located next to them.
Those are going to require us to paint, and they're rusting, and there's some significant challenges to maintain.
Yeah.
So, Brian, I'd like something that maintenance, that fits the field, but isn't quite as maintenance heavy. So maybe I'm asking for the moon, but I would, if I could end up in 2027 with a bench or two and some permanent permanent is the word. We have not done anything besides the parking lot in 4 years that's permanent. And we would like to just do something. And to me, that's probably like a low ask, but seems to be pretty huge. So that would be my dream. Thank you.
And if you do it under that certain amount, you don't have to ask anybody, right?
Oh, I have the money.
That parcel is township owned, so we would need their approval to do something there.
We do not own any property that is worth developing anything permanent on. We do own the property that is next to Zot, but having used that area, it is very volatile.
It's not a forgiving site.
It is, it wouldn't, something permanent would look 20 years old in about 6 months.
Yeah.
Is the Rice Street house also township?
Yep.
Township, yeah.
What house is that?
Uh, it's a
It's behind
White
Jonah's.
house.
It's on Rice Street across from the school.
Right, yeah,
Yeah, right there.
where Brad's circling there.
So the township owns that and the lot right next to it.
Nobody lives there?
Nobody lives there, no.
Who owns the property between the post office and the trail?
The
The township.
recently acquired that.
Oh, that would be worth doing something with. I think someone mentioned maybe having the, it's not a huge piece of property, but instead of.
Oh, it's pretty big.
It's pretty big.
concerts at
It goes way back.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
Instead of having the concerts at that church, you could maybe make
It's been
something there.
discussed as a public space. Again, in the grand scheme of things, those types of projects absolutely in the future potentially, but we can't develop anything until the drain's done because it would just add to the flooding right now, so it wouldn't be approved.
So the
Part of our
drain
TIF
is
plan included the
tied to
community
everything.
center
Yeah, this is
at the Costello building.
going way back to one of the earlier questions about why the drain was in the budget. It's
That's why.
because you're seeing all of these projects. You want to build
Yeah.
anything, you want to pave any more additional surface, that creates more impervious surface, which then the rain can't just go down to the ground. It has to go somewhere. It has to be managed, eventually flowing into the drains. And until the capacity problem in the drain is addressed, all of those projects are effectively frozen, except for
So,
tiny little things.
a lot of these projects that we're talking about aren't gonna go anywhere until the drain's cleaned?
Not big ones. I mean, like, you can add a little bit of sidewalk here, a little bit of sidewalk there, but like we're talking, like the parcel that you're
Yeah.
talking about between the trail and the post office. If we were to try to use that as an event space, we'd be putting in a structure, we'd be putting in a paved parking lot, we'd be putting it, like, all of those things add up and are extremely unlikely to pass the engineering.
So we've been talking about projects that wouldn't conflict with the drain. So when we're talking about some potential sidewalks, we're talking about prioritizing areas that aren't affected by the drain. Things like murals that aren't related to the drain. Things like the benches in that location aren't affected by the drain.
So the parking lot by New Hudson Inn didn't affect anything?
That drains to the pond that's behind Lowe's. We actually had to build that into our budget to get directional drainage to go back there.
So that was what you actually purchased a drainage easement.
Yes.
from them.
The HOA that owns that property, so we were allowed to discharge there.
Well, is there a way to maintain some of the property that's sitting, like at the 5 Points, the point where the restaurant used to be, cutting down the tree that's leaning over the road now and got a plastic bag hanging in it and the grass is overgrown? Can we not force these places to clean these places?
That would be an issue for the zoning officer for the township. The DDA can't direct a private property owner on what to do with their property. That would have to go through the zoning department in the township.
So I have to go to another meeting?
Well, you would just call the zoning officer.
You just make a report.
Yeah, file a report, contact the township and ask to talk to the zoning
I
officer.
just think if we could make some of the vacant
Oh, I
property we
100% agree.
have in
Yeah.
the short term look nicer.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
I keep going back to that 5 Points, that is the gateway to our community.
Absolutely.
And how many of the points, we have Zot on one of them,
Mhm.
and even the side of that has township property on it that's
Mhm.
just flat, there's a piece of art on the wall and there's no sidewalk to go see it.
Mhm.
You know, we need to clean up what we have, and if that just means mowing it and fertilizing it and putting a fence, a split rail fence across it to make it look nice.
And it's a hard discussion, and I don't want to veer too off course, so I apologize. But you have to remember all the different ramifications of that, because you may be in support of that, but then somebody else may come to the meeting and say, hey, I own a business down the block. How come you're giving this guy money and doing his lawn and you're not doing my lawn? So it's like, where do you make these decisions and who determines those things? So those are things that the entire board needs to think about. But I hear what you're saying, absolutely, and we understand, and we're having these conversations.
But
We've
maybe
made
if it's
offers.
presented in a way that it is, we're trying to improve our area. We're not trying to slight anybody.
No, absolutely.
Maybe we can do a campaign about, let's improve our look.
And we've had some of these conversations. We will continue to have it because that's absolutely what we want to see happen too. But we can't force a property owner. All we can do is highly suggest. We can make mock-ups of what it could potentially look like, how great it would be for the community. But in the end, it's private property. But we are having those conversations, and we absolutely agree with you.
I think we still need to look out about 8 years, because that's about when you're going to be able to do anything.
Possibly for some of those. Yes.
What I'm hearing from Amy there to try to translate into project list is beefing up and expanding the FIG program.
Yeah, potentially.
So
what program?
Our facade improvement grant
program. Traditionally, it was focused on improving your signage or an awning or things like that.
Yeah.
But there's been discussion, I think, about expanding it to have more allowable uses, so that
Or
you're
create
saying,
different programs.
hey, somebody has this property, they're not doing anything with it, it doesn't look great. We can't go in as the township and just say, hey, you're doing this, we're doing it. But we can give them a program that says, hey, if you're interested in working with us to make this look better, we'll help you.
That would be great.
Yep, absolutely.
It's called facade program?
Facade
Oh,
improvement
facade.
incentive
I mean,
grant.
if I don't cut my grass,
Well, that's-
eventually the
right, that's
township will
different.
come in
Yeah.
and cut my grass and charge
Yes.
me.
Yeah.
So that one corner there, it looks horrible.
And if you contact the township and the zoning officer, they do follow up with that. They do follow up with it, and they send
I
it.
told him about the sign
Yeah.
laying down and the gate being open and the door on the White House. He
Yep.
fixed it all for me.
And he's in court all the time fighting those because people come back to him about the
That is
tickets.
the same process that you would use for like the stuff on the Putter's Corner.
I think you guys need to get him a helper because he's gonna need it.
Expand the
Yeah.
grants, not just the sign. I mean, if we can do, like, we can fix the chip paint or things like that on the side of the building, I think businesses who are like, I wanted, if I could have the capacity to do more, I would do more, I think there's an opportunity, since that we support you.
Absolutely. That's something we will take with us after tonight.
I
Absolutely.
mean, right now, you've got some extra cash. Let's give it and try to make the best we can out of what we have
Agreed.
with the least amount of money.
Regarding our 2027 budget, we do need some numbers that we need figured out over the next couple months, which I think is a tight time frame to get some estimates of some of this stuff. And so we do need to fill out, our engineering services, our planning services, our legal is like just one line, correct? Am I missing something?
Yes, that's one line. I don't have subcategories created for legal.
So what I'd like to do in all of this too is just look at, again, this is all in our line items, our lines, right? So I'd like to look at some of those categories and kind of redefining them based on what we're doing.
What do you mean by redefining the line items?
Like we have the New Hudson Drain Culvert, I mean, those 4 different topics under engineering. Whether we want to, if we're going to focus on something, defining it differently, potentially.
Okay, so creating a new accounts potentially and making some inactive.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, just looking at that based on whatever we're going to be doing.
Yep.
So it's clear kind of what we're putting away.
And we sent Raina home too early, so I apologize because Raina did have, this is in her purview. She makes recommendations to me too because we do follow the government budgeting categories.
Yeah.
So they're standard and I know when I first came on board, this was something that I was adamant about, was at least, they used to be just engineering services, one account, and that was it.
Yeah.
This was my attempt to try to get it more defined, but I have found out that these accounts, the numbers stay active, so she did not recommend doing that very often, to try to be as general as possible, because those account numbers then will be taken for the foreseeable future. It's not as easy as swapping out names each year for those accounts, so we just need to keep that in mind too. But absolutely, I agree with you.
Yeah, and I want to, and so we need to kind of look at what are the type of projects we're doing, and really what are kind of some of the categories of services that we need from our consultants.
So is that something you and I can meet offline and kind of try to have a meeting and talk about what categories you'd like to see as treasurer on the budget?
Yeah, though I first want to know what we're doing for 2027.
No, I agree.
Just in terms of carts and horses is, A, we need to define some things, B, figure out what we're going to estimate it as, and then C, figure out how we want to fit it into the budget. Is kind of what I see needing to happen before the September, October meeting. Yeah.
Can I ask, with the detailed documents that I sent you for some of the expenditure accounts, some of my recommendations, were there any direct conflicts that you absolutely don't want included? Are these all things that are potentially for decision later? I just want to know ahead of time if these should be included for proposal moving forward. Not that they're approved tonight, but just are these in line with what you're kind of thinking about for next year?
Are you discussing
The document.
The yellow or all of the above?
All of the above, because what I tried to do was, this doesn't include every account, but it included every account that I identified some changes needed for specifically.
I guess, yeah, this is another one of like, can you get rid of that? I don't know, Deb, if this is something you can follow up with Raina. Like, our whole sponsorship thing is a black hole that we don't understand. So,
So we'll wait for clarification for recommendation on that one.
well, I mean, I guess we need to figure out what we need clarified.
What page are you talking about in the backup?
I'm looking at this thing that says account 28 for fiscal year budget recommendations.
Oh,
It's the front
Not
page.
the revenue.
It's the front page of the one with the yellow.
It says revenue expense on
oh,
the
it
first
does
page.
say revenue?
Mhm.
Yeah, because that's just, the few revenue pieces. And so, does anybody have any input on how DDAs do this? Revenue their sponsorships? And how it
Or
impacts
if they
their
do.
budget?
Or if they do.
I mean, to me, it's,
Yeah.
again, if the budget's 5.6, what does the sponsorship number impact?
Well, it's just preserving your money, right?
Yeah, but
If you're not spending it, then you're asking somebody else to defray your costs.
so, right, but are we, like, say it's zero and we bring in $40,000 in sponsorships, like, it just doesn't matter what we put, that number doesn't matter,
That's
correct? I mean, that's what I'm seeing.
Just for your own internal purposes, projecting so you don't go over your 5.6 million, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna have,
40,000 of it's gonna come from sponsorship. Yeah, like, I mean, that's why this is just completely,
I think there's value philosophically in saying that the programs that you're facilitating are not necessarily coming out of tax dollars because they're being offset by these sponsorships.
so we were in a meeting, Carissa and I, with the new chair of the LBC committee, and Amy asked her for her budget, and there was a question about, what was it? It was like, how much expenses, you're like, there's quarterly events. So it's going to cost, $1,000. So you're going to budget $1,000. But the way that we've been operating is that if you budget $1,000, but then so that's $4,000. But if you estimate your sponsorship is going to be $1,000, then you can only spend $500 for each event, or no, $750, whatever that is, $750 for each event, and $250 has to come from sponsorship. Like that is all just our internal hula and has nothing to do with
But
what we can do.
It might be based on your past actuals too.
What's that mean?
Your actual, how much you typically bring in for
Yeah.
those events.
Sure.
And maybe that's, I don't know, that there's some value to knowing that too, right?
Yes. Correct.
But not to be,
The event can't happen if you don't bring in your
Correct.
250? Okay,
Correct.
because that's where currently we're operating. And that, we can say that does not have to happen moving forward.
It seems like you were currently operating like you had a line item budget.
Yes. And then sponsorships was fit into this, that if your event for $1,000 had a $250 sponsorship piece, then
You
you
were
could
very
only spend $750
Right, you were very restrictive to yourselves, yes.
without any policy.
Oh, without a line item budget.
Yeah, but also there's nothing in writing that says that. We have to do that.
Oh, but I think it was past practice.
Okay.
That you really adhered toward your revenues and
Okay.
budgeted expenses.
And I do think that's
So-
something to maybe consider when we look at initiating some policies too, to maybe spell out if we are recruiting sponsorships, does that money get specifically designated to the project that it was recruited for? Because right now, if it comes in as extra income, again, you have that ability to shuffle it around. So when we're doing policies, that should be something that's addressed too.
Which works out because then we would just come in under budget, but we wouldn't be prevented by not raising that money from executing it. We would just
Correct.
have funds that went to like lighting up the grant. We budgeted $5,000 for this.
Mhm.
We got $3,000 in sponsorships. So we end up with an excess of
Exactly.
$3,000 for
That's
that line
designated
item.
specifically to that. Yep,
So that way it's not nebulous where people are donating to. 'Cause
exactly.
that, I completely agree.
So I am okay with having a number under sponsorships if we all agree that that is going to be an estimate using the past 5 years, how much we've brought in, how much we think we will bring in this next year, so that we have something in there that
That's how
shows
it
some
behaves
of-
in our other budgets
What?
too. That's how it behaves in our other budgets.
Oh, yeah,
too.
no, that's
We
how I
don't-
would
right.
understand it too,
We
yeah.
don't know what we're gonna bring in taxes. We don't know how many people are gonna rent a picnic pavilion. It's an estimate based on some sort of
Yes, I
future-
absolutely agree, but that's how it should function, yes.
But
So
I think
the question was, do we want to make it 0 or not? And I think I'm okay if we agree to not do what has been happening, that we can put a number there.
Correct, but the budget for promotions needs to be the total amount that it costs to run the
Yeah,
events.
don't take into account
Not-
sponsorships for
right.
committee
And
budgets.
then we can still-
Yes.
yes.
Absolutely.
Right. And then if you raise funds,
Then
you're
it's a
just,
bonus. Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
Then
just-
you
you're-
offset.
You're offsetting. what
Yeah.
you're- what you
Absolutely.
budgeted.
I think that's
And
great.
you have to stay within the $5.6 million budget.
I could do a lot with $5.6 million.
Because that's the other piece, was
Oh, we
because
could
we
have
were
some fun.
operating with this line item and that you were getting 50,000, and if you wanted 52,
Yeah.
no.
Yep.
So she can have the 52. You can have the 52.
You may want to consider it being maybe more of a ballpark thing where you say you have an event, you plan it as $5,000, you put in theoretically, okay, you say you want to raise $5,000 from sponsorships for each quarter or whatever, or was it the $1,000 for the
LBC events.
like too many acronyms. Say, you find out after this year or after 2 of them that, hey, you're really only bringing in $250 in sponsorships and you're spending $1,000. Well, then you just have to have a discussion and a decision about, do you need to bring down the budget, or are you okay not having it all? Not that you can't have to stop the event, but that if you are taking the approach of trying to have sponsorships offset, if your sponsorships go down, maybe your future plans go down, and if your sponsorships are higher than you expected, then maybe you let your event get bigger. I don't know. Just a,
Well, what I think you're referring to is having a budget that actually is functional. Right now, we have such a padded budget, it really just doesn't matter what we do. And that it would be nice to have a budget that actually reflected what we actually think we're going to do and the actual numbers and use it in that way. And then you can see, hey, we thought we were going to do this. Looks like, as we look at it each quarter, we're not quite there, or we're exceeding it. And
I can make an
Right
estimation
now-
off of 2025 and 2026 expectations to put
Yeah.
in there for 27.
Okay. Any other comments?
Are we done?
Yes. No, we should touch it.
No, you're not allowed to talk anymore.
Did you have something else? No?
Stab her with
Okay.
her own pen.
Meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for coming. Thank you
Thank
for
you, guys.
your suggestions, comments, questions. Appreciate it. Keep them coming via email, social media, whatever.
Amy, share with everyone, we appreciate them being here, please. Share with everyone when you see them, we appreciate everybody being here. Oh, sorry. No,
I thought you were talking to me.
I know, that's, that's Angie's job. Can we make a motion?
We did. I think she motioned and she seconded and she adjourned it. She did all the things.
Other boards.
July
You know
21st,
what, that's it.
Okay, yeah, I would like
on there,
to.
but-
Oh, it's got a thing down here.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Pastor John, I need to talk to you for 1 second before you take off.
Just adjusted the temperature.
I know, and now we're done. Go figure.
Yeah.